getting us started today. Greetings, everybody. Welcome to Discussing Tabletop. It is, of course, August 22nd. Getting to the back end of August here. Summer is almost done. My niece is almost back at school.
Nice.
The classics. It's all the various things that happen with the end
Nothing
of summer.
changes for me.
I mean, like,
does your niece have traditional post Labor Day or no? What is the holiday coming up? Anyway, after that holiday.
Well, I think it's Labor Day.
yeah,
Is it Labor Day? Okay, I don't know
so.
why I was second guessing myself so hard there.
because there's two. There's Veterans Day and Labor Day, and
That's
they
the other
kind
one.
of are.
Veterans Day and,
They feel
yeah.
they're still different, but like thematically, a lot of what we do on those days is similar. So that's why they feel similar, even though they're celebrating different things. It's just that the way we celebrate them, at least around where I am.
But it doesn't help that most Labor Days are May 1st, but Canada and the U.S. are weird about it.
Yay.
Anyway, yeah, but anyway, so yeah, is yours a post Labor Day school start?
No.
I know that was the standard for a long time.
I don't remember when my school started.
That was indeed a standard for a long time, but I do believe she's going to be starting right before it.
Okay.
I think
I've noticed a lot of schools have been breaking that standard. It's
like the 31st/1st she's going to start. So basically
Not too bad.
a week and a couple of days before she starts. So, yeah.
Is your niece a fan of school, or is it going to be like a I don't want to go situation?
I'm going to say this. I can't really tell nowadays. It's gotten very hard to get any kind of answer out of her, except, complaining/yelling. She is she's teenage now. So
yeah, that figures.
What grade?
7?
Oh, okay.
I think because she just finished 6.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
She's going into the moodiest years, 7th
I
and
was
8th grade.
I was one of those weird kids that was like, yay, school. I want to go to school. I like learning.
That lasted until, honestly, 7th grade for me. Up until then, it was pretty good.
Love education. I love learning.
I love learning, but when it comes to school, I had 3 undiagnosed learning disorders
Fair.
the entire school time, so I hated it. But I love learning.
For me, it ended up being that I also went to a different school the majority of people I knew from elementary school didn't go to at the time.
That sucks.
It was positioning for where you go to who goes to what middle school at that point in time, and so it was a mess with that one. So yeah, I didn't really know anybody, and it was fine. I think overall fine. I liked high school a lot better because
oh yeah, I really liked high school.
Ran into other magic nerds very quickly, and that really helped out.
My high school experience is weird because all of the sporty jocks were the biggest nerd ass losers you'd ever meet. These people played D&D and Magic. It's all right, that's pretty chill, dude.
That's interesting. Yeah. So I guess we can get started with just talking about how our week went and such like that. If anything interesting happened. How did folks' weeks go? Momo, how'd your week go? Sorry.
Okay,
I just did the eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Thank you.
My week has been pretty chill. I'm working a lot, but I always work a lot. There's nothing new about that. Played some good old video games, caught up on some gaming-related news. Yesterday was I started playing Honkai Star Rail. That's been a fun game so far.
Been into a bunch of
turn-based
turn-based
thingy.
It's the thing of
I play them because they're free, and I don't ever spend money on anything because I'm cheap.
Yeah, I think it's I think gachas get a bad reputation, and I have nothing technically against them because
there's some really good ones.
Some have pretty decent gameplay and stuff like that.
And some are just gambling machines.
I mean, look, I'm not gonna lie. The horse game, that's
that one.
Hearing,
that one
hearing,
apparently it has gameplay.
hearing, oh god, brain fart.
Krendor.
Krendor talk about how it's just the statistics and stuff like that. I'm like,
yeah, it's
wow,
just a sports simulator. That's all it is.
This is just a sports simulator.
Yeah, started playing Star Rail. It's been pretty fun. I like it's very much my humor of like just like there's a bit where you're in a hotel and you get prompted you can ignore it, but there's an interact prompt on a closet, and it takes you through like a minute-long dialogue story of how this is the best closet in the universe, and it feels so perfect to be inside of it. It's just a bunch of goofy shit like that. I found a lamppost. You can interact with so much stuff. I found a lamppost, and the text was, you can find useful objects by interacting with things in the world. This, however, is just a lamppost.
All right.
And it's a lot of that humor, which I really like.
Wow.
So that's been a fun game. And then Enfield had its preview stream for the new character, and she's a bow character. That's pretty cool. She has the thickest Swedish accent I've ever heard, and I love it.
Sounds interesting. Cool. All right. Nice. Worm, how did your week go?
I spent 4 days working on the character sheet for Joe's game.
I'm sorry.
It is very annoying just how bad. Like, okay, I want to talk about Joe's game for a second because it's got a great base to it. It really does. Like, it could work.
That's the thing is, what I see too from having played a little bit of it.
From what it sounds like, it does have like a cool world and base, but he's too stubborn to like fix things.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. I did suggest a lot of fixes to him already, and he's all like, and he did change a few things, but he's like, I don't want to change too much because I want to like try it out first. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I get it. It's your project.
Yeah. He wants to play test some things.
But yeah, no, like the concept is great, but like it needs to be streamlined, simplified, expanded on this, and like unified. Like he's got like the scaling system. Like, okay, cool. It's like, oh, he uses letters. Neat. First off, why do you do them backwards? Usually you want to go up. That's one
weird.
thing that just it starts at A as like well, there's U for untrained, and then A, B, C, D, and then G's the top. And I'm like, why don't you just flip it? I don't know why you do it that way. Anyway. Yeah, but every single skill has like a different scaling. And I'm like, and I get why he does it, because he wants the different actions to have like different like things, but I'm like all I can think about is, okay, you can have everything have the same scaling and have different actions modify the chance, rather than having to like modify the scaling for each thing. You know, that's what I was thinking of a lot this week about how to make his
it's just
things better.
Really, we like me and Blaze have talked about this. We need someone like you, because we're not good with suggesting a lot of this stuff, because we don't know enough of this stuff. We neither of us have been very like numbers based people. Like, I'm okay at it, but I'm not great at the numbers and stuff when it comes to the kind of build and stuff. And it sounds like you can grasp that a little bit better. So it's sort of like we needed someone like you to fix it.
I also enjoy studying game design.
Yeah.
So I'd like to think about kind of the mechanics behind the game and how they function and how they do. But anyway, it was like so annoying, because I'm like, man, if you just had like everything have the same scale, I could like refer to like one formula instead of having to like punch in every single thing as like a unique set of numbers.
Yep.
And that's why I was thinking about the single unified scale modifying the different.
Nah, it's fine. It's an understandable mess, unfortunately.
Yeah, I had a bit of that when you suggested your little fix for One-E's item problem, and I was like, well, with that balance and change, and eventually I was like, it doesn't fucking matter, who cares? Just do it.
Oh, you're talking about the.
Yeah, you're like
realistically, here's the only thing I would say is like we could just have it that like you can't stack it onto a already existing magic thing unless you use the.
That is the only issue I came up with is you just have to prevent transfers to make a magic item already better.
Yeah.
And then you're.
No, I know that's why I was like it can only go up to a maximum of the. What
that would be the only problem.
Anyway,
the other problem is like the time, but Pathfinder crafting sucks, so who cares?
Yeah, that's the thing. Is like that's why I'm like saying like 1 day to do a transfer would be versus like the hours upon hours to craft something new.
Because like
I mean, in the end, you can just buy something. It's not a big deal. I was just like trying to think like there are a few things there that have like I've thought about this before. Like I actually have thought about like how to kind of how I really do like the modular system of like 2Es, but there are some things there. Yeah, but. I was just like, hey, maybe we can make this work. I could. Honestly, though, I kind of agree that just the third-party spell that just lets you move things on an item is probably just the easiest way to go.
Pay a wizard to cast it.
It's also like the thing of like, talking about. I was talking to Sel about because Sel was talking about taking craft wondrous item, and I'm like, like, I took a look at it, and I don't know if there's going to be more. It's like maybe a week or two. In between book 1 and book 2, like theoretically, I could probably like easy stretch it to 2 weeks, for how the story goes and how much because a little bit of time's supposed to pass in between book 1 and 2. Like you're supposed to relax for a while, and then an issue comes up, and like the people in town are like, "Hey, you guys just helped us out with this. Can you help us out with this issue? New storyline, and you kind of go on the path of that one."
I don't know if anyone should be asking us for help anymore. I've seen our abilities.
They haven't. They saw you in help in the first.
I've seen what happened to Bo.
You've seen some things, but again, like it's like I could push it further, but it's like you don't really need to.
There's some adventure paths where crafting comes up a lot, and then somewhere it just isn't feasible.
Yeah, I think like this is one of those ones where I'm like. Not really feasible except for some like low level stuff like if you want to make some potions.
Kingmaker, the pirate adventure, Hell's Rebels is really good for it.
Mm-hmm. Like again, if you want to make like potions and scrolls, I think that's like the easy ones that you guys can.
Those don't take much time at all.
Yeah.
Well, potions, depending on what they are, can take a lot of time.
Yeah, if you make something like really well, like they can link up to level 4 spells anyway, so I mean that does help.
Yeah.
Keep it. Where's level 3?
I think it's 4. I don't really remember.
Yeah, I'm forgetting here too. Cause
I don't really use potions that often.
It's the entire thing.
I do like. I do like the 2nd edition kind of as scaling crafting, where like as you getting in level, like the amount you can craft in a day goes up. Meaning like effectively you're going to be taking about the same amount of time to craft something.
Yeah.
Around your level, but it's still a bit long. It's definitely meant to be like in between games, but I always liked kind of crafting in the middle of games, so I actually found a third party that kind of does that a little bit better.
Again, I think it definitely depends on the story too, but yeah, it's like an unfortunate thing that the more I like look at it, like there are just some glaring issues unfortunately with 1E at this point in time. I think
it's just old.
Yeah, I think definitely speaking, if I would ever run another like adventure path, I would definitely start from level 1 again.
I think you should just start everything. I genuinely think you lose nothing by starting at level 2.
Yeah,
and it gives everyone 1 bab, so everyone can be useful in the first combat.
Yeah. So.
I mean, literally, I could only be useful every other turn because I didn't have 1 bab.
Exactly.
Anyway, I'm trying to think if there's anything crazy that happened. I gotta be honest, this week ended up being.
Did you watch any cool videos?
I did enjoy the Cyberpunk video. Finally, kind of watching
very good.
Came out. There was a couple. I'm not gonna lie, I did enjoy Adeptus Ridiculous going over some of the Eisenhorn stuff because I've heard of Eisenhorn a lot and I don't know a lot about him. It's a name I hear about.
I think it's the best Warhammer novel series.
Yeah, so it was nice kind of hearing about that finally. It's like again, it's like that kind of things you hear about, some of the memes, some of the characters and stuff here and there from all of them. Oh yeah, I ended up watching Pancras's one on the fantasy, the dwarf. I can't remember his name because I just saw it earlier the week.
Pulling him up.
Yeah. I think I just got like I just ran into it rather than it because I don't know. I don't think it was new. I think it was an older one. Because I think it was like I was watching something of his and it autoplayed to another one of his videos, and I just like, oh, I'll watch this one then too. He's in the novel series. It's the
Is it Godric and Felix?
Yeah, Godric and Felix. Yes. So hearing about them was kind of interesting.
Yeah, they're the two cool guys of Warhammer Fantasy.
Yeah, you know, it's the kind of thing of like, again, Warhammer Fantasy has kind of been interesting, but it just like it feels like it's I've never been as big on dark fantasy, so it's like hearing about the characters it's at least nicer because again, like it's like I like when I can get that stuff in this kind of thing about like the videos and this kind of like things like that. That's why I think I like the Accept the Loss a little bit more because if they do dark fantasy thing, like I don't have to dive as deep into it to get like that tone, stuff like that, you know. So yeah.
Guy is angry.
Ooh, hopefully it's not too angry.
It's just thunder. There's actually not really a lot of rain right now.
No, this ended up being like a randomly busy week because just some things with my mother that she needs some help with. That has just been very annoying and time consuming. You know?
Sure.
You know, so.
I had a weird YouTube recommendation that I've been watching. I don't know why. I don't interact with like first person shooters very often on YouTube. But for some reason I got like recommended a dude whose channel is just like going over every war crime in Call of Duty games. I was like, this is weirdly well researched.
Yeah, that does sound vaguely interesting. You know,
it's a lot of them.
I'm sure those games like I don't
bad stuff.
Yeah, like I'm not gonna lie, I like just general idea of most of those games. I'm like, you're not the good guy in most of those games.
You're doing a lot of bad things to people, especially in Black Ops.
It's one of those things that I always keep forgetting that those games have story until like people talk about it. I'm like, oh yeah, they have story.
Some of the stories are pretty good. Some of them are really bad, like really bad.
Yeah, it's the question. I think it's with most of those big series. It's like some of them, they don't like phone in on, and others you guys phoned in on this
30 games now.
Yeah. Jeez,
it's a lot of them, and they all range from some of the worst things I've ever played to pretty okay.
It's every time there's like one of those guessing things for video games, and it's like it's a Call of Duty game. I'm like, well,
which one?
I'm probably going to fail this because there's a lot of them. There's just sometimes when you hit a franchise, you're like.
I used to play Call of Duty every release yearly, and up to the space one because I didn't like the space one. And that kind of turned me off of the franchise like pretty hard.
Yeah. I played Modern Warfare 2 and Black Ops, and that was about it.
Those are two of the best ones.
Look, I'll stick with my.
I barely liked them, which is why I think I only liked the best ones.
Those are the best ones. Yep.
I'll stick with what I originally did, which was GoldenEye / Perfect Dark, and then I transitioned into the Time Splitter series and did. I think 2 in Future Proof.
Look, I have opinions on GoldenEye, and that it's actually not a good game, but like we are fond of the memories we had of it, and those are memories we can never get back because we then played Halo, and Halo was just better. Or we played Perfect Dark, and Perfect Dark was just a better game.
Yeah, no, I think that's what it is. Is I transitioned to Perfect Dark because it's just a better game. Look, I spent like. I just remember spending like 20 minutes throwing daggers at a box and moving it to try to like see if I could blow up the box and like kill an NPC just with daggers.
My favorite quirk of GoldenEye is the grenade launcher and the rocket. When they explode, they actually leave like a lingering damage field that you can walk in and kill yourself in.
Wow.
It's not a well-made game.
No.
Which game?
GoldenEye. Damn, does that
GoldenEye, oh,
soundtrack
yeah.
go hard?
Oh yeah, because it just has that explosion where it like
Yeah,
pops
that
out
is
and you,
it's
like,
a
walk through it.
lingering damage field.
Yep, the lingering damage field. Like the explosion just sits in the air, burning for a while.
You know, that does remind me of something I saw online about Halo, where if you have a flamethrower and you fire a rocket through it, the rocket has now like an aura which can damage you if it passes by you.
Yes.
And that is like the weirdest little detail that they added.
There's a reason the flamethrower it's in Halo 1 only on PC though. And then it's in Halo 3, and then I don't think it's ever returned because of that.
That doesn't surprise me. But yeah, no, it was like, yeah, it was Halo 3 that it was in the original Halo.
That
3
does
that I
not
saw this
surprise me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, like, I'm not gonna lie, I probably like plenty of little small videos here and there that were fun, but nothing that stands out in my brain, you know, other than that for sitting around and putting that stuff. Again, I'm very much so, you know, working on something on the second monitor a lot of times. So,
I listen to a lot of videos when I'm working,
yeah. So,
or when I'm playing like a video game.
Well, shall we dive into our week's topics with some RPG-related stuff? Because there's
probably a bunch of stuff that happened. I wasn't paying attention.
Here are the things here and there. So we got a backer kit coming from Onyx Path for, it looks like, a new IP that they're working on, Jadestorm. That looks kind of interesting.
Ooh.
You know, it's supposed to be kind of a vengeance power adventure kind of thing. It looks like the idea is like, you know, turn against your master and defeat them and stuff like that. You play as blessed or cursed to inherit the jade of a fallen infernal being. You have a master, might have found you, teachings discover your capabilities. You know, so jade bearers and stuff like that. So Jadestorm, kind of an interesting idea.
Yeah, it's very I don't know how you say, like, it's wuxia style. Wushin, thank you.
Yes.
The art gives me like Jade Empire vibes.
I think that's kind of what they're trying to.
It's like one of my favorite video games ever made.
So it looks interesting. It is fun that if people want to go into it in the backer kit, they've got.
Oh yeah,
and it's Onyx Path. They have a good.
Got bunny people. I already love it.
I saw that too. I was kind of trying to find something about species or something, but
I've only seen like just a couple pieces of art. Yeah, the art looks really cool. I like the style.
Yeah. Like again with big things that they're working on, they do have a very long estimated date for kind of it.
Absolutely.
2029. I assume if you go for a PDF, you'll get it earlier or something like that.
Most likely.
Yeah. And Onyx Path is pretty reliable. You're gonna get it.
Yes. They're pretty good.
If it succeeds.
Yes. Well, I mean, it's already on the funded level, so it should be good. But
yeah, you're good.
Yep. So, there you go on that one. And then, of course, we have, at least out in PDF form, the Fallout RPG now has its new Vegas setting book out in PDF form.
Nice. That's the one everyone likes.
Yeah. We talked about it coming out. They talked about it. Now it's out in PDF form, so you can finally get it. Yay!
I'll probably get it. I like the Fallout RPG.
Yeah. So, again...
I need to run it again. I really like it.
It does.
I also just really like Fallout.
It seems like they do a good job of developing their 2D20 system very well. So, you know,
it's one of the rare times where an IP-based tabletop RPG feels like the IP it's based on.
Yeah, you can kind of capture some of those feelings, but it's like you need the game itself sometimes to do that, rather than just the person running it, and like it takes a lot for the game itself to do that without a lot of input from the game master, so it's nice. So the Cypher system by Monty Cook is getting an advanced version, aka it's another edition. They're calling it their advanced version, but so
that's a very pink dragon.
There's a very pink dragon they have on the front there too.
It's got like numbers painted on its wings.
I get it. It's like a male dragon.
Yeah.
Delivery dragon.
Like
Male delivery dragon.
Delivery dragon.
Yeah. you don't know about Cypher, it's basically the Monty Cook's kind of generic system in a lot of ways. They use it for a bunch of their other settings and stuff like that. So they have their main generic books, and then they have the ones that are a bit more like to various games and stuff like that. And so it looks like they're just putting together a new edition of the base system, which is good. You know, you have to update those. Looking at you, GURPS, that hasn't changed in a million years.
They are, well, okay, that doesn't bother me because their system is fine.
I mean, their system's incredibly generic, so I think it's like one of those ones you don't necessarily need that.
GURPS is already perfect, and I will never play it.
It's so funny because I definitely want to try GURPS at some point, but more than that, my favorite part about GURPS is their supplement books, which are great for getting inspiration for game mechanics, because like they all have like their own little like unique spin on how to do something, and I love it.
Cool. Yep. So Cypher Advanced, if you want to check it out, it is of course up now on BackerKit and also funded. So
yeah, it makes sense. It's I think it's pretty popular.
I might be backing 2 things this month. Anyway.
Warhammer Fantasy RPG getting a 5th edition.
Nice.
40th anniversary. Just to make
game old.
Game old. Not quite D&D levels, but it does go to show the RPG came out really early on in existence.
I played this RPG. It's pretty brutal.
I definitely think it's
pretty rough.
Well, you have to kind of think about, like, you know, it probably we had by this coming out, if we're saying it was 86, we had Warhammer Fantasy, the miniatures game already out.
Yep.
Maybe 40K by then? I don't know exactly 40K's original release.
Let me check when 40K came out, let me check when Rogue Trader came out.
Yeah, because Rogue Trader was around the time. Because was Rogue Trader first? And then it was?
Yeah, well, it was, okay, technically, the first, like, version of Warhammer was called Rogue Trader.
Yeah.
It was Rogue Trader Warhammer 40,000, which is a terrible name.
Yeah. Like, I saw someone talking about some of the, like, Rogue Trader art from back in the day, and it's art.
It was 1 year before 40K was released.
Okay. So.
Because for those who don't know, 40K is a spin-off of Fantasy Battle.
Yeah.
That is why there's a lot of god similarities. Although a couple gods are missing, and they shouldn't be brought back.
Yeah. Well, like, you know, hearing more about it, it does sound like both things have, like, influenced each other on streamlining the storylines and stuff like that.
And one of them exploded, so we don't have to worry about it anymore.
Well, then it came back.
Well, kinda.
Yeah, kinda. But, so yeah, they're coming out with their 5th edition. I think it'll be releasing a little bit later.
I might, if I can get a copy, I definitely will, just for, like, posterity. I would never play it again, because I do think it's maybe a little too old. I'm not the biggest fan of Warhammer Fantasy, but
no,
I would definitely like to own it for, like, the posterity, to be like, this is a cool thing.
Yeah, and I think it's like Cubicle 7 has been doing a very good job on all the Warhammer RPGs.
Their rule books are immaculate.
Yep. So they're a good thumbs up if you want to check out any of the Warhammer RPGs. They're the ones that are doing it.
Very much recommend Wrath and Glory. It is a very well-made system.
Let's talk about some D&D stuff here on a bigger topic. So I got 2 small things I want to throw out there because they're nice. They're gonna well, one is nice, one's and the other one then we'll get into. An Ars Arcana came out, and apparently people can become a mind flayer now. That's the words I heard someone saying about it.
Fine, I guess.
But there's apparently okay, look, this is the thing. It's a D&D popcorn bucket from AMC. It is. I don't know why it exists.
Look back. Oh, you know what? It's kind of like it.
Yeah, like I can say it's kind of neat, but I'm like also like, why?
Why wasn't this out for the D&D movie?
Yeah. Okay. Oh, so you're getting it directly from them, from their website rather from the thing, and I guess you could bring it in there if you wanted to. You know.
That's fair.
That sounds fine.
I mean.
Well,
it's better than like the Dune one.
Yes.
Honestly, I would get this and use it for like storage.
Yeah, and here's the thing too. It's like
it's already sold out.
Really? Well, maybe they'll get more. Maybe they'll get another stock in. We'll see. Currently sold out. Yeah. Notify me when available. So it looks like they might plan to do some more. Maybe. So if you're interested, keep an eye on it. Then so this is very minor, but I wanted to talk about it because it's like it makes me sigh because we talked about Dark Sun, and there's a little thing.
I'm gonna preempt this. It's okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna preempt this. Because I had a fight about this on a Discord. There's not. If this is about the slavery thing, they're not removing slavery. They're just one. They're not using the word slavery because that's really bad for marketing, and two, they're specifically getting rid of chattel slavery, which is the most horrific institution in human history.
Okay, that's fine.
There's still slavery. People really took the quote the wrong way.
Yeah. Here's the thing, though. That's why I was like, this doesn't sound good to me because you're saying like you can do other things to be oppressive, and I'm like,
there's still the implications of slavery because one, it's still Dark Sun, and two, it's a setting of like do what I say or you don't eat.
Yeah,
that's still slavery.
And I'm not gonna lie, the pressed into military service, if you want to survive, feels like a forced labor kind of thing like that.
They're just for mark. It sucks that they have to, but for marketing, they're not calling it slavery because you don't want to be the slavery tabletop RPG.
Yeah,
and also,
okay, I can see that.
I'm gonna be honest. I've seen some of the people who play D&D. If you give the detailed description of slavery, there's gonna be people who want to participate in doing it.
So okay, brings me back.
Yeah,
I'm feeling okay about this again. I was just worried that it was kind of going to be like
I was in the trenches of this one.
Yeah, it sounded like they were going for a direction that I'm like, you're removing something that is meant to make it feel a dark, oppressive atmosphere with the what? It's like what? I think again, it's not a very. They're not displaying it very well. The quote that they kind of give here. So
it's been taken out of its context there, and people obviously didn't read into it further because they never did.
Yeah, I mean, I find the whole thing kind of like, okay, first off, people already put this stuff into their D&D campaign, so acting like you're, it's a unique thing is whatever. But more than that, it does kind of like, if you give rules for something like slavery, they probably won't, but let's say they do, that could be a real problem.
It's gonna be a PR nightmare.
Yeah. I feel like there's a lot of things that could go wrong pushing it this direction.
Yeah. I think people forget that they need to market this stuff and to make money off of it. And Dark Sun inherently isn't the most marketable setting.
Yeah, no, I will agree on that one. It's like they're. Yeah, go ahead.
And also, you can just add it back if you really want to. You can just do that.
Look, I'm not gonna lie. I
do it.
I don't really think there was a lot of chattel slavery in.
Also, slavery is not the biggest.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest. Dark Sun's unique enough. It doesn't need slavery.
Yeah, and most slaves are just technically owned by the state, kind of thing like that. It's like you're just under the state's direct control, which is just a tiny step better than other forms of it. It's like it's not great. You're still under the boot of the empire.
The world still sucks.
Yeah.
I watched the release trailer and it just felt like it was brutal for the sake of shock value than it was and I feel like that's almost like what they're going. It feels like they're trying to prove to the Dark Sun people that they can be edgy.
Which is you do need to appeal to them to some degree, but also there's a lot of Dark Sun people who just aren't going to play 5e.
Yeah, I feel like people who like the Dark Sun setting probably are already kind of not into 5e.
They're because 5e is not really built for hardcore survival planet.
I get here's
to
the
be
thing.
fair, the edition Dark Sun was made for also really wasn't, but
no,
don't you dare tell a Dark Sun fan that.
It's never been there. The survivals always suck.
To be fair, it is a lot better
a little bit, yeah.
Well, because you got to remember in 2e, by the rules as written, the GM picked your starting spells, and you had to learn more. Although, and technically, even the like priests didn't have access to everything in the same way. So it's like, and you could just and like it was very clear that it was build your own. So you could just say Goodberry didn't exist. So it was like, I mean, you still can do that, but it seems to be more of a problem for people nowadays with the 5e culture. But it's kind of like it does work. Like, I mean, I'm playing in a Spelljammer campaign for 2e, AD&D 2e, and it's like, yeah, we have to track supplies and rations.
Yeah, and look, WotC has already proven that they can make settings darker and worse by the fact that they made Hidose more racist in 5e.
They're like, this wasn't really. It's. I'm not gonna lie. There probably could have been an undertone there in the Hidose, but it wasn't really readable very much. It was like it passed the line. It passed the sniff test, So, well, we've already passed the sniff test. What can we do to ruin this?
Why'd you make it worse, dude? Why'd you do it? Who like passed on that?
I think it's just.
No,
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
I'm just seeing the Dark Sun marketing, and I'm actually turned off by it because I'm just all like, I don't know who this is supposed to be for.
I'm interested in it because it gives me very because I've never been a fan of Dark Sun personally, but the book covers give me like very Diablo vibes, and that's kind of why I'm into it.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm not a big fan of running Dark Sun, but I like the Dark Sun world. A lot of it.
That's about where I'm at. I find it a compelling universe. I don't think it makes for an enjoyable game experience.
Look, you put me in a Dark Sun setting and tell me that in theory there's a way to become a dragon, and that is my goal. I don't care how evil I have to be.
Yeah.
Look, I mean, one of the problems I have with Dark Sun is that it is a hard setting to have meaningful impact on because everything is so shit.
Yeah. It's definitely one of those ones where you're probably more just generic adventurers. Thank you for that update that just booped into my ear here.
Nice, dude.
Away. It's just like, you should update this thing, and I'm like,
hey, I heard it because I have your stream turned
on. Sorry, that's just it's like, I think the thing is like, yes, there can be stories to be told, and I think there are stories that you can run that have actual meaningful impact. They did actually have the adventure written out for when the Sorcerer King of Urk was defeated. That's an adventure that was written, and there can be things like that.
Cool. The problem is, the world is still dead.
And
look, one dude's working on it. He's only one dude, and he's pretending to be a supervillain, so the other supervillains don't murder him.
Okay, there's also
he's got
another
this hat
thing
on.
There's another thing that people kind of don't remember about Dark Sun, and that is technically the supervillains are in some ways the good guys.
Yeah.
Because they're trying to stop a threat which could destroy everything.
Yes.
By gaining as much power as possible.
A lot of the hubbub about the slavery thing is people taking the first part of this quote and then ignoring the second bit where the guy is just calls it slavery but without saying the word slavery.
Yeah, that's why I saw that, and I'm like, that was the entire thing of I reading the entire sentence and looking at it, isn't that the same thing? It's what are you talking about?
They don't want to call it slavery for marketing. That's a rough spot right now.
And I find it stupid that people are getting up in arms about taking slavery out of Dark Sun. I had a
whole rant that if you're mad that slavery's gone, you're just weird about it, dude.
See, here's the thing that I kind of felt a little upset about it is the lack. It's the thing that happens a lot nowadays is the language, people aren't telling it straight. They're flowery language, and I'm like,
it's very corporate, which it has its issues. It's very market corporate speak, but
that's what
we live in a world where you have to unfortunately do that.
Yeah, but I feel like again, it's like that entire thing of like, really, but whatever, if here's the thing is if they do some decent writing and like put together decent world building better than fourth edition, then I'll be happy. Fourth edition
Yeah.
was okay, but it was just like a milk toast version. Like it didn't hide any of the dark aspects, but it kind of like just the lore was all just kind of like milk toast. It's like it's there, you can work with it if you want, but yeah, whatever,
Yeah. I hope that, and this is gonna sound weird, but I really do hope that on their feats and classes they say, prerequisite Dark Sun campaign.
I probably will blanket ban a lot of the like stuff they add from this book just because it doesn't work outside of Dark Sun.
No, and that's the thing, is the main reason I hope they do that. First off, they did do some of that in I think the Forgotten in like
I think the
Eberron thing they
Eberron,
did.
some of the Eberron.
Eberron, that's what it was. It was Eberron. And like GMs really appreciate it because they don't have to be the bad guy.
Yeah.
They can allow it and be the good guy, but they don't have to be the bad guy if they disallow it.
Yes. I think that is a very good thing to do. It's sort of like this is made for this campaign. If you want to use it in your own, consider it, what that is.
Yeah.
And I think it's something they've done in Pathfinder since first edition. It's like, this is really built for this campaign. Use it there. It's like,
like a lot of the things in T&Z are listed as uncommon with like a prerequisite of T&Z origins or something. And it's like, okay, well, they're kind of technically common if you're from that realm, And it actually even talks about how if you're running something in this game, consider making these common,
Because I was reading the player's guide for Season of Ghosts, because Cell's going to be running it at some point. And I found it very cool that the book is just outright like, you cannot play Android and you cannot play Gunslinger in this.
Yeah. It won't make sense also because Season of Ghosts technically
those things don't exist yet.
It's just, androids haven't really traveled outside of their small enclave in
Nemoria.
Nemoria.
It begins with an N.
I think it's Nemoria.
Oh, I was almost. It's one of the. It's the
and
country
and
that
Alcazar hasn't invented gunpowder yet.
Yeah, and if they have, it certainly has not traveled outside of Alcazar.
I can't remember the years for when like Alcazar met the dwarves. It's like. I met some dwarfs. They built gunpowder. Great. But anyway, so again, it's just I just, even if you're gonna say like, hey, we're gonna be talking about this in different terms and a little bit more open terms and stuff like that, we're not gonna be using a lot of language, just for that. Just be honest with us, and I'm fine with it.
I mean, it's the issue of like, hey, let's say they do a marketing push on YouTube for Dark Sun. If they use a lot of the Dark Sun stuff, that shit's getting taken down by YouTube.
True.
Yeah, and like I can understand like, I mean, again, like you can kind of include it, but I can understand for reasons why they'd want to step around it still.
Yeah, if I was designing a game, and which I have, I would not really put like that much mention of slavery, because I'm like, well, one, it's like too real a little bit, and two, I don't want to give the idea that players can participate in the most horrific institution in human history.
Yeah, it's something that if you have it in a game, it's very villainous, stuff. It's something the bad guys are doing, not the good guys,
Yeah, well, like largely players shouldn't be doing it.
Yes.
Even in evil campaigns, it's pretty ick.
Yeah, again, like it's that entire thing of like, evil campaigns are usually
there's unfortunately some people who will do absolutely terrible things while they play D&D.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'll say what I said before when they announced this book. Hey, it's gonna be this version of Dark Sun. That doesn't mean it's your version of Dark Sun. You still got the old one. Please don't like chastise anyone who likes the new version.
Again, for me, I just hope they do decent to the lore and like talk about nice way. Like if
I think they'll be fine because the Eberron book was pretty good lore wise.
I don't think they've done decent jobs on Ravenloft. Overall, not the best updates I'd want, but most of the time when they write things, it's pretty good, you know. I just feel like sometimes they rely too much on the past stuff.
I think we're all still thinking like it's 2022 and they just like ruined Spelljammer again.
It is a scar.
I think that's like where a lot of this hesitancy comes from. Because the Spelljammer book was real bad.
Yeah.
Also the Planescape stuff.
Yeah,
was
that's the thing. The
bad.
last two they did were pretty bad.
Yeah.
And so everyone's worried they're gonna ruin another setting.
Yeah. It's like, and the Ravenloft book is pretty much just a rehash of the previous Ravenloft book in a lot of ways. It's fine, you know.
It was a lot of just repeat information.
Which kind of what I figured it was going to be.
Yeah. A few new things, mostly repeat, but fine, because again...
Just like I figured the inevitable Dragonlance book will just be a lot of the Fizbin information, but redone.
Yeah. And then, like, the Eberron book, they work with the people that work on Eberron, and they help a lot.
Same with the Greyhawk book that's coming.
Yeah, so... Well, hopefully it'll be good. The other thing for D&D related, just to finish this out, is, of course, we got Underdark options, which are just, like, 3 classes that they're testing out.
Yay.
A path
thing I don't use.
Yeah. A path of unlight god. Or are you barbarian?
Barbarian. So it's like the... So I presume... Yeah, it's... Okay, so it's a barbarian. It's just another elemental barbarian by the sounds of it.
It's just like...
Which is fine. It's like... Unlight, which is associated with radiant damage, so that's...
Yeah.
It's a radiant barbarian, that's fine.
House Agent, which is a rogue that works for drow houses, technically.
Cool enough. Sick.
The Imascanist Wizard. Deep Imaskar, dealing with the stuff from there. And then they have a thing for feats for a path of Ceramatosis if you want to be a Mind Flayer. If you want to pull a Baldur's Gate...
How did you say that? I'm not saying you're wrong. I don't think I've ever heard it said that.
Ceramorphous.
What did you say?
There you go.
Ceramorphosis. I don't know what I said originally. I'm not gonna lie.
You said something.
I don't either.
You put some letters in there that weren't there.
it's the word is.
Oh yeah, it's very much. You even say it here. Hey, it's inspired by Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah. So
I'm not gonna lie.
The issue I have with it is with all of the chain feats that they've done recently, and that is that they're chain feats in a game with so few feats.
Yes.
Yeah. And here's another thing I'm gonna say about it. I thought the Mind Flayer concept worked okay in Baldur's Gate, but I also thought I wasn't a big fan of the concept as it was going. Now, granted, there are parts of the story I have not seen. I played through the first act.
Finished the game.
I've played through the first act. That's all I've played myself, and I've watched a little bit of some playthroughs of some people.
You're missing You're missing quite a lot of context for why.
I'm not missing that context,
right?
Yeah, but my encounters with it were kind of like, I'm just kind of like, I could see this kind of being more annoying for what for story stuff.
My opinion on this is I'm banning it because I don't like. I don't really like the chain feats very much anyways. And I haven't really been a big fan of the, quote-unquote transformation stuff they're trying. Because I'm going to be real, Grim Hollow has done it better.
Here's another thing. If you become a Mind Flayer, you're not you anymore. You're another creature.
Well, there's some weird stuff. But technically, it's still you, kind of. Again, finish Baldur's Gate 3 and you'll get a lot more information on what they're like now.
So they've kind of...
Because Baldur's Gate 3 kind of did a lot of retconning of Mind Flayers. In my opinion, for the best. Because Mind Flayer lore was really dumb.
Okay, I'll take it that there's like a level of... I never dove deep.
I don't want to say it because Baldur's Gate 3 is an commitment game. I don't want to spoil it for anyone.
Yeah.
I've been trying to get him to play it for a while. He just doesn't want to.
We're gonna have to drag this. It's a commitment.
We're gonna have to drag him through the game.
It's a hard commitment, and that's why I've been holding off again on doing it.
It is a very long game. It's like 80 hours. So.
And here is if they're rewriting some Mind Flayer lore, I think that's fine. It's just the thing is I've been hesitant since I really just did not like 75% of the rewritten Beholder lore that they did for 5th edition. because like there was like this between second, third, and even fourth, there was this path of lore, and it was a very like deep lore they had developed throughout that they kind of, now granted they kind of removed a few things here and there by like third and fourth because again new company and stuff like that, but most of that stuff really was like some of the chaff on the end that was kind of like embellishments of it, but it was very interesting kind of sets of lore and stuff like that. And I'm not gonna lie, like for beholders and spelljammer, you can't have beholders and spelljammer in 5th edition because they don't work with how they changed them.
I'm actually reading.
Well,
I'm straight
you
up
can't have
reading.
anything interesting in Spelljammer 5th edition, but that's
This is true.
I know.
I'm reading these Mind Flayer feats, and you know what? Yeah, I can tell that this is just Baldur's Gate 3.
Yep. I skimmed it and I saw a lot of things that you could do.
Yeah, this is Baldur's Gate. You know, if I run a campaign that rips off Baldur's Gate 3, I'd allow it, but otherwise, nah.
It's the unfortunate thing is like I don't think pandering like this is good either.
Also, I want to like, it's not really spoilers, but they give reasons for why you're protected from the Elder Brain in the feats. So they thought about it.
Okay. Yeah.
Which again is also very Baldur's Gate.
Yeah, that makes sense. I know
With
that
the
like
weird little like D20 that you have.
Yeah, there's I know again like I know there was some weird stuff going on, but I guess having not gone beyond Act 1, I haven't did
You really should. It's very good.
Look, I'm not gonna lie. Our last time of trying to do Divinity 2 was like what burned me from most from trying.
We got
we got to the last chapter.
My life kind of fell apart at that point.
Well, look, I'm not blaming you, but it's the sheer fact that like the amount of times I went through acts 1 and 2 in that game, and I finally got that game that almost got to the end, and unfortunately a lot of stuff happened, and we stopped, and it was just sort of like, well, I guess I'm never finishing this one at this point. It was just
I start Baldur's Gate 3 at least like once every couple of months, and then stop around Act 2.
And one day I'll grab it.
It's very good.
Maybe by then I'll just like see if there's like kind of interesting like extra classy stuff in like
it's a lot of mods.
Mods, yes. Just
a lot of mods.
Really all I care about is like maybe like some
I think like
mods.
you should probably play the game without mods first.
Probably.
And then you can experience the true most fun way to play the game, which is the mod that makes wild magic proc on every spell, no matter what, including cantrips.
Wow. Yep.
It's the most fun way to play the game.
So, anyway, like these are fine. These feel very. Cool, I think other than the Path of Unblight, these are very Forgotten Realms, though, aren't they?
I mean, we're probably gonna get. I assume at some point they're gonna do another Dark Book. Also, we haven't technically really had like a 5.5e adventure yet.
Oh, yeah.
So this might be gearing up for something like that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
They're gonna make a Baldur's Gate 3
absolutely,
aren't they?
It's just probably. I understand the reason why, because that is the still incredibly popular thing in D&D.
Again,
I do need to finish it. It's so funny because I got to the very end. I basically got to the point where I was ready to go to that last area, but I just couldn't find the last bits of the clown, and then I ended up stopping.
Yeah, that's fair. I hate that fucking clown quest. I think when I finished, I'm pretty sure I missed like half of Act 3. And I, to be honest, Act 3 runs like trash, and I don't want to do all of it.
As how many acts is it?
Just 3 acts.
3 acts. So the third act's just the final one.
Act 1, I think, is perfect the way it is. Act 2 has its problems, mostly with the final area.
Okay.
Which you can just skip all of it with a single spell, which is really funny. And I think Act 3 is too open.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to figure out where to go at times.
Like, how in Divinity 2, Original Sin 2, Act 2 is like, hey, the gloves are off, you can walk literally anywhere.
Yeah.
That's Act 3
for
Baldur's Gate.
That was just one of those annoying things also because it was like there was a balance to Me too.
You've broke so many quests just by walking off.
I just wanted to pick up the shiny on the ground. I didn't want to go that far. And then some kind of horrific giant monster just showed up randomly. Like,
oh my gosh,
I was 5 feet from people! 5 feet!
There were
playing
so
Act
many
3
times.
with Tantus is going to be a nightmare if you're not doing it.
There were so many times in Divinity where Lightning and I were on, like, we're in town, we were turning in quests, doing shopping, and we just hear Tantus be like, "Oh, I started combat somewhere."
I tried not to. They just showed up.
Yeah, you're gonna have to stick with people when we do it.
We have to get like a child leash.
we need to get a child leash mod.
It can be boring and date Shadowheart.
Nah, I think I'm okay. Or not. I don't know. I haven't made a decision.
You can be spicy and get with Astari and like some kind of weirdo.
Like it's the thing of like none of them seemed like interesting enough characters for me to date personally.
I romance Lae'zel a lot.
Again, it might also be like dealing with them and learning their stories a lot more.
To be fair, you've also experienced the literal like they've had zero development.
Yeah,
version.
I think that's the also thing too. Is like, you're all interesting. I can understand why people like each of the characters, but they're like, hey, they're fine. You know.
Act 1 of Baldur's Gate is like, these guys all suck.
Yes, that's the thing.
I honestly, as far as character potential, Astarion is, I'm not surprised he's a lot of people's favorites because he's got so much potential to go either direction. And he's got so much behind it. I love, actually, if you talk to him about the special item you get from the one guy and he's opens up about it. I loved that scene.
I still have never finished his story because the one full playthrough I did, I accidentally clicked a wrong dialogue option, played for 3 hours, and then he just disappeared from the game. And I was like, well, I'm not reloading for that, sorry.
The first time I played, I lost Lae'zel because, like, I didn't... Basically, there was a glitch where if you fight her, she's supposed to, like, attack you, and if you, like, disable the fight, she leaves forever.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I disabled the fight, and she just stuck around.
Oof.
And I didn't know I didn't know what was going on, and I didn't until like probably like 4 or 5 hours later when I tried to recruit her into my party again, and I couldn't.
That sucks.
And I'm like, oh. And I looked into it, and like, yeah, it was a glitch. It eventually got patched out, but it just kind of sucked that I'm like, well, I'm not replaying 5 hours of this game.
No, yeah, I'll maybe one day I'll see a Astarion story, but I already know what it is anyways, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, it's just like having played through both like Kingmaker and Wrath of Righteous, like they had some interesting characters in them. Like again, like character I romanced in Kingmaker was just, or not Wrath of Righteous was just because it was the hard one to do.
Isn't it the Queen?
It was the Queen. I'm like, I'm gonna just do the Queen because it's the stupid hard one.
I never finished either because I, like all Alcat games, I despise them by Act 3.
They're interesting, but hard
I don't
to
want to try them because they're Pathfinder First Edition, and that doesn't.
I would really recommend, out of all of them, I would say Rogue Trader is the best one. But Rogue Trader is also like 200 hours long.
Yeah. I don't know if I want to jump into
it. And they're still likely to add more content at some point for some reason.
There's at least one more DLC coming out.
Yep. They're already working on the next one.
That's why I have not done a second playthrough, because I'm like, I was just going to wait till it's done.
Yep. They like their billion out like DLCs and stuff like that.
I would really like them to stop.
Yeah. But anyway, Underdark options. If you want to check it out. Want to talk a little bit of Warhammer?
Sure.
The Orc book came out.
Nice. I'm gonna guess that Orcs are still the strongest army in the game.
So I want your opinion because I read through this here a little bit as the codex over. I really went to the good, the bad about this here too. Apparently there's a lot of variety.
That's good.
It doesn't depend on the wall to do damage as a mechanic. There's a lot of detachments. They have some solid identity. Apparently, though, all the data sheets are very complex. There's a lot of abilities on them. Also, apparently, most of the detachments are 1 DP.
Ooh, rough.
So there aren't a lot of 2 DP detachments here, which isn't really good. And there's also apparently some balancing issues, it looks like, too.
Yeah, Orks are, I believe they're the most broken army in 11th edition at the moment, and they're probably going to remain at the top for the rest of the edition. Which sucks, but it is what it is. I guess very much into the camp of like Bricky of like, hey, stop what you're thinking. No, this isn't because new orc models came out. This just happens sometimes.
It's like the way they develop something, they can't necessarily completely change it, so it's going to be stuck kind of where it is. While it might not be the only, like, yes, it might be good, it might be one of the top. It's not going to win everything and every time, you know. It's just that you've got a couple of like aces in your hand or something like that, you know. You got a pair of aces.
It does kind of suck to hear that the book, like the data sheets are a little too complex, and also the detachments are kind of like a little one note.
Yeah, like
because 2DP is really nice for giving you some more variety.
I guess that's the entire thing. Is like it also is because you have 3 DP normally, or you can have for an army now. So it's sort of like you're taking 3 1 DP things. You don't have a direction very well then, you know.
Yeah, you just kind of like, well, I mean, your direction is your orcs and you do orc stuff, but that's only fun for so long, right?
Yes.
Although I assume orc players are still happy because their shit's still OP.
They're
sorry, Thousand Suns, you got nerfed, but orcs, they're at the top, baby. It's all coming up orc.
Yeah.
Apparently Gaz hits like Angron now, which is a little concerning. And probably not good for game balance, but whatever.
Yeah, probably not. Probably not. Yeah, I'm not gonna go into. You can go to the details in the article provided. They put into both the chats and stuff like that. But it does seem.
So
like
it's I'm scrolling through it. It goes through a lot of information.
Yes, they do a very
good
job.
The person who wrote this is very informed.
Yeah, they do a good job breaking down the entire thing from the book, which is good.
I will say, orc models are still some of my favorite looking in the franchise.
Someone said this about them. It's because like they're the easiest to kit bash because they're already ramshackled so much.
Yeah,
you can just do a lot of that stuff with it, and I'm like, makes sense. They're the craziest, like most like, you know, I chuck some stuff together kind of group. They're like the easiest to do a lot of weird stuff with and like, you know, play around with your models and stuff like that. And that sounds fun. You know, that sounds.
And they also have some of the most fun character names.
Yes.
Like Wazdaka Gutsmech. His rocket bike.
Look, you know, I'm not gonna lie, I am also entertained by their very terrible British hooligan accents, you know.
It's really funny because the orc books have been some of the best novels written for 40K in like a long time.
Yeah. It's man.
Sorry, I just remembered the one orc with an eye patch who was like, some guy was like, I see you, and then this little guy was like, no you don't, rips off eye patch and a flashbang explodes.
I heard about that. That's so great. It's just like he's got eye patch because he's just got like a flash grenade in his
flashbang in his eye socket.
That's why he's wearing the eye patch. He could have gotten a fake eye, but no. Haha, flashbang.
God. Orcs are so goofy in their own books, but they're horrifying in everyone else's books.
Well, yeah, they are just like a horrific giant monster that, like, you know, does not treat people well. It's just they're very kind of like...
They're the only people in the galaxy having a good time.
I think that's kind of where it is. Like, yes, they're horrific monsters in a lot of ways, but they're having a good time, and they're doing what they love, and it's like... I think that's why people also love them a lot more than some of the others, because they're like not goddamn depressed.
No, they're like just a fun faction.
Yeah, they're horrific monsters that are probably just going to either kill, eat you, or just use you as servitude till they do one of the other two. But you
It's
know,
usually how it goes, yeah.
but like, you know, that's just the existence of them. You know what you get for them. They're not going to do anything different than anybody else. Like, you know, a lot of the other factions, you don't know what they're going to do if they like somehow get a hold of you, if they're not killing in the first place, you know. And they're also ultra depressed most of the time.
I look. I mean, I don't think there's a faction that's good to be captured by in Warhammer, but if I had to pick one, I'd say probably I'd just surrender to the Tau.
Yeah, that's probably the best one.
I mean, I'll go to a work camp, but at least I'll get healthcare.
Yeah, that's true. You might be re-educated,
like,
but you know.
Humans might be nice because you'll just be killed.
That's true. Well, no, they'll turn me into a servitor and put me in like a door.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you like? Well, I thought they only did that to like people. I guess they do it to prisoners, right?
Prisoners,
do it to,
enemies of the
like-
state, and sometimes old people. Sometimes
Yeah.
old people too,
And sometimes babies.
and sometimes babies.
The Imperium is real
Granted,
bad.
those are vat-grown babies. They say now.
Yeah,
You know.
they did
Did they
make it less
are people
horrible.
like still alive in some way, or is it just using their brain as like?
Here's
a
the fun thing: so
processor?
they lobotomize you, but sometimes the lobotomization doesn't work, and you remain fully aware.
Yeah. They lobotomize you and replace that part of the brain they removed with mechanical
Yeah.
parts.
No,
with
A lot of
computer, you
people
know.
don't understand. Like, no, the Imperium are quite evil.
They're very awful.
There's a reason the opening calls them the most brutal regime in human history.
God. I saw. It was kind of interesting. There was a little animation someone did of a stormtrooper who was giving orientation to a bunch of like other stormtroopers, and they had gotten like accidentally in the 40K Milky Way, you know. And so he's trying to explain the Milky Way there, and it's like you thought it's like so you're gonna have to be like ultra racist to people. Like we already kind of are. No, not the kind of like we kind of like, you know, put the aliens as servants and stuff kind of racist. No, like really racist. You know, it's like oh yeah, it's like comparing the Empire, like, you know, from Star Wars to 40K's Imperium Man is like, oh yeah, no, they're just so much worse. Like the Empire,
there was
bad, new level.
Fun fact, there was a period in Star Wars' writing history where they did try to 40Kify Star Wars.
Makes
and
sense.
It was not like that good. It kind of sucked.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see why they might have tried to done some stuff like that.
Because they wanted, I think it was in the 90s when they wanted to try and be a little more edgy, but
yeah, that
Star
was
Wars, I'm sorry, Star Wars is like the opposite of edgy.
yeah, there's the 90s was a lot of edginess. I don't understand it. Like it was fine in some ways, but a lot of times I'm just like, this is like annoyingly edgy. As someone that
Starcraft
grew up a lot in the 90s, I'm just like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
But yeah, so Orks. Cool.
Orks. It's almost Orktober.
Yeah, I guess we're gonna have to kind of wait and see for more of the codexes to come out for kind of how the edition's going to shape up, I assume.
I'm very curious what the consensus will be in like 2 years.
I'm also curious because I think you'd have to go through here on the lore side of things since they're trying to add that in to the codexes and stuff too. I'm curious how much is in here.
I've actually the one thing I don't like, and this is going to be like a small tangent. Codexes aren't hardcover anymore. They are
I heard about
softcover now. I don't like that, but it does make them like easier to produce. So that's fine, I guess.
So.
I'm of the opinion that codex and lore should just be separate entirely.
I think that'd probably be better. You know, they just should put out some lore books and stuff too. You know, just do that. Just have your gameplay books and your lore books and put them separately. You know, and you know, you can reference the book.
There's a lot of people who just play 40K and don't like care about the lore, and then there's people like you and not to a large degree me now, I'm only really in it for the lore at this point. I don't really play anymore.
Yeah, like I don't think I played
the lore.
Yeah, I don't think I played a miniatures game, but like, you know, honestly, some of the video games look like kind of interesting to play.
They're pretty good. Space Marine 2 is a great game.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to play kind of a miniatures game like that, but every time I think about it, I know it costs money, and then I'm like, okay.
It costs a lot of money.
Look, you know, I think the only way I'd play the miniatures game is if the tabletop simulator or something like that had something.
Very fair.
You know, just for the sake of maybe like learning it once, because again, like having kind of grabbed some of the basic rules, and like I've heard some people talk about some of the basic rules. I'm like, yeah, it's a little bit more complex than I've played before, but I've played a few miniature games that are at least a couple levels towards this, you know, so I understand the basics pretty easily, you know. We should move on though.
Speaking of other miniature games,
yes, there's a couple more interesting things to talk about. Starting with Starcraft, because Starcraft has a miniatures game, and it's starter sets incoming.
Ooh, nice.
Coming out.
Apparently, it's like
August.
they're really like high quality miniatures.
Yes. There's technically they're putting out 3 different ones. A Protoss, a Terran, and a Zerg
Makes
one.
sense.
So they're supposed to be the starter ones that get you into it. They do have a core rule book. It's meant to be like an actual miniatures game, you know.
Yeah.
Into it. So
it's basically just like playing StarCraft.
Yeah, that kind of makes sense, honestly. I feel like,
you know, I like StarCraft. It's one of my favorite game series.
Yeah.
Rest in peace. We're never getting another one.
Yeah. I feel like that's the best way to, you know, interpret a RTS into a tabletop form, is if you're not going like a TTRPG route for like, you know, specific characters, it's going to be like a miniatures game. That's the closest thing you can, I think, get to it that works pretty well. So I'm sure there's some other ways, but I feel like that's the one that's, you know, easiest transition between those concepts. Just because I can't not talk about some of the other games, I did want to mention Yu-Gi-Oh's getting a new booster set. Good for Yu-Gi-Oh! It's going to be Glorious Victors. You know, you know, I've been trying to shout out some of the other TTRPGs, not just talking about Magic, even though it's the only one I really know the most about. So we got some things here. It's a 60 card booster set. I always remember they have very tiny booster sets, which is something that I like, kind of, because I always think when I think about booster sets for like Magic, it's like the small ones were like 100 cards to like,
oh yeah, for sure.
Like,
I think Yu-Gi-Oh is cool, but it's a game I don't think I enjoy playing.
I think modern iteration, from what I've heard, is definitely
modern Yu-Gi-Oh. I think.
Yeah, modern Yu-Gi-Oh. Like, that's the thing. I thought it was great back in the day. But
I think I'd rather play old Yu-Gi-Oh.
Sure, you play.
I stopped before they hit 5Ds though.
Yeah. I'm sure, like, just kind of like you can do some versions of Magic that are classic. You probably do classic Yu-Gi-Oh.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, but yeah, no. The problem is like all of like is that realistically, if you can't win in like 1 or 2 turns, you lost.
That's why I just watch the anime sometimes. I'm like, this is good.
Yeah.
No, I'm very much in the boat of like they kind of ruined it, and they need to really do bans and stuff a lot more.
I think I watched up to GX, which is like 2004.
I watched. I want to say I know I watched 5Ds. I don't know if I finished it though. But I definitely watched GX.
Which was the series that was like they were at like a island school or something like that?
That was GX.
That's when I saw some of. Yeah.
Yeah, they weren't like at a. They were at like a school. So they weren't on an island.
I thought it was an island. That's my brain. It was
Is Duel Academy not on an island?
Maybe it is. I don't remember. It's been a while since I've seen it.
It is on an island based on this image.
Okay.
It's on a volcano.
It's not. Goddamn.
5Ds is the motorcycle one.
See, I didn't see any of that. Yeah.
Christ. I watched more Pokemon than I did Yu-Gi-Oh.
I watched more Yu-Gi-Oh than I did Pokemon, but
that's very fair. That's just all of my Pokemon knowledge comes from not that I played the games, just because I've seen like the entire anime.
I mean, I played every game up through. Well, technically, I stopped it after 5.
Yeah. The last Pokemon game I played was the remake of Ruby and Sapphire.
I'm not gonna lie,
that was 12 years ago.
I just did the originals and stuff like that. I was a very tiny kid playing, you know, red, blue, yellow, and then went to gold and silver. Didn't even get to crystal. And then I kind of stopped after that, and it was like Pokemon Go that reinvigorated my kind of love of the franchise. I had that love back then, you know.
I played a lot of Ruby and Sapphire, and I played a lot of Diamond and Pearl.
I did have the 2 Game Boys, so I could trade with myself.
Technically, blue version was my first. but I was definitely too dumb of a kid to understand how the game worked, and I think I made it to like
absolutely.
Misty.
Mm.
But my first real game that I played through and beat was Gold version.
Nice.
Hearing some of the problems and how like the system worked for like the original ones, and I'm like, I don't think I understood any of that. You know, I barely understood the stats. It was sort of like I think some of the matchups I could understand, and that was the best I could do. You know.
Here's the thing: the game straight up lies to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh well, you know.
Like it gives it super effective and not very effective text based off only the first type of the creature.
Yeah.
I was very much the kid
Even though
of
that's
like
not actually how it's calculated.
I was very much the kid of like, why would I ever take debuff moves? And then towards like the end, like, oh, why am I losing so much? This game sucks.
I just remember like beating the Pokemon League like 50 times to like max my things like level 100.
I recently listened to 2 people talk about Pokemon. I'm like, this is an entirely different game for you.
It is very different nowadays, I think, too. And
listening to people like talk about the actual like how Pokemon mechanically works, like I don't think I love this franchise on that level, dude.
Like,
no, like, okay, here's the thing. I actually know a lot about the mechanics and stuff of Pokemon because I do like it, like that kind of thing. Like, I mean, I know they reduce the sleep time over time, like, so like it's gotten shorter and shorter. And like they reduce critical hits from 2 times to 1.5 times. I think in Gen 6 or 7.
Interesting.
Yeah, and currently they're working on Gen 9 right now. I have seen the release of their
starters.
waves,
right?
Yeah, the new one. Is,
a lot of people are super excited for it. Is that 10?
That's 10.
Or sorry,
okay.
Gen
9's the current one, which was Scarlet and Violet.
I've seen people super excited for Winds and Waves, which I don't know. I hope it's good. I hope people love it and it's great.
The starters look okay, but again, like it's for me because I don't know at this point in time if I will actually play it. Like, here's the thing: I do want to get a Switch to at some point in time and get some Pokemon games.
That is the problem. Is yes. I don't want to support Nintendo, so I live vicariously through YouTubers.
That's very fair. I have the problem. The same problem I have with Pokemon I have with Persona is like I don't want to play a kid.
Yeah. For me, it's more that I have been working on a shiny living dex, and it's hard to do that in Pokemon Go. Not impossible, but it's hard. And that it's just having some of the games that make it so much easier in so many ways.
Yeah, that's
like,
fair.
Probably not much easier well, they've made it a lot easier.
Depends on the game, right?
Like
since Gen 6, it's been no. Oh no, sorry. The last one I played was Gen 6. That's why my brain's skipping a Gen. Gen 7 is yeah. So Gen 7 is the first one I didn't play, and that's when they included. Technically, in 6 there was some shiny chaining features. But Gen 7 is when they really did shiny chaining.
Gen 6 is when they switched to like full 3D, right?
Yes.
Gen 6 is 3D, yeah.
I remember that. I remember that it was a huge turnoff for me.
Yeah. It actually was for me too. Well, to be fair, I kind of like the stylized 3D of 6. That was okay.
Yeah.
But I hated when they just went to like full on like looking people.
Yeah, I did 7. Really like because I played Gen 1 through 4, skipped 5, played the remake of Alpha Sapphire in 6, and then skipped everything else.
Yeah, I literally owned every single cartridge through 5. I still do. And then 5, Gen 5, 5.2 and 5.2, I didn't get, and then I get and then I did get Gen 6.
I have to start numbering these like Kingdom Hearts games. Good lord.
Right? 5.2.
Look, it's kind of like there's a couple of people that I'll watch some Pokemon videos. Like MNJTV does some really good ones. I think I like his stuff. I'll occasionally see some things from Wolfie VGC, but he's very much more mechanically battle oriented in it, kind of his opinions. And it's kind of like I like just the casual, like this might be what you use in a playthrough team. That's kind of fun, and you can still get a little bit of that, like this is the mechanical side of things, a little bit of that.
I like to watch hardcore Nuzlocke.
I pick my Pokemon based on what looks the coolest.
There is someone that I ran into that does Paizo Ironmon that I just will put on in the background just to,
God.
because that's one that I like do not pay heavily attention to. It's sort of like I'm gonna do something but have something on, and it's sort of like just watching them suffer, and then they're like, I do this because it's my happy places, and I'm like, good for you. this is good for you. It's such an interesting kind of concept, but I'm sort of like I would never do that.
Congratulations on your suffering.
Yes, congratulations on your suffering. It's fun to see like when you're successful and how interesting it could be, but then it's sort of like, well, perish song. Sorry. I think was it Krendor that did that at one point in time?
Krendor. I think Krendor finished it.
Yeah. So yeah. I didn't think about it then when you mentioned it, so it's just like running into someone else and like just watching them for a while. I'm like, oh, this is kind of interesting for watching it. Kind of like the same with the hardcore Nuzlocke, So it's like something I would never do, but interesting to kind of.
I'll watch Soul Links occasionally.
You're fine. Soul Links is super fun.
I'll go back and watch Shen and Ray's Soul Link because it's really funny.
Yeah. There's definitely some things that I would like to do to go visit some older ones, like maybe revisit some Gen 3 games or something.
On your legal Game Boy Advance.
My totally legal Game Boy Advance, yes. Anyway, we can keep moving on. So
yep, I was about to say
yes.
Whatever the Monolith is.
Yeah, so the Monolith is an interesting game being done by Plaid Hat. They have up on Kickstarter. Plaid Hat's done some interesting games. We've talked about them before. They seem like fine people.
It's telling me to like verify my Kickstarter account.
They've backed their project here. It's interesting.
Okay.
So
okay, I mean that is a monolith.
Human explorers landed on an alien world, eager to study, only discover a horrifying intelligence waits them. A monolith, unknown origin designs. Basically, it's a very little Dead Space where you're kind of armies against each other.
A little bit Dead Spacey.
Yeah, but you're like murdering each other to sacrifice to the monolith.
A little bit Dead Space, a little bit Revelation Space as well.
Yeah. So murder your enemies for the monolith. Yeah.
All praise the monolith.
Just like me, for real.
So again, like it's a game. You can either just do a simple pledge, or I think just for the one copy is $69. Nice. They did that on purpose, didn't they?
Look, I'm down with the monolith. On my shelf back there, I have a marker statue, so I think they already got me.
Yeah. So if you want to look into the game, it's a miniatures game. It looks like currently it's a it looks, I don't know how many players it is. They do have an expansion that they can get out with. That's 1 to 2 player bot expansion. I guess it's sort of like playing against
That's pretty cool.
Between 3 to 4 players.
Okay, so
yeah, about
normally 3 to 4 players, but they do have an expansion that allows for 1 or 2 players. So
yeah, this game it looks cool.
It's one of those things. Is like, yes, it's definitely something to complain about when it's like you have more players, but it's like, okay, if you really want to play a few players, you have at least an expansion for it.
Praise the monolith.
Praise the monolith. So you want to check out the monolith? There it is. And then finally, we have an announcement of a Plants vs. Zombies board game, because of course they're doing everything for this, for like random video game things. There's another one of those ones that I'm like, it could be fine.
This one makes sense.
Yeah, it could be fine. It could make sense. It's supposed to be a cooperative game of 1 to 4 players. I'm guessing it's sort of like you work together to build a defensive thing against zombies that are moving with rules on them and stuff like that. So I like that's a fun cooperative game too. You're against the board. That seems fun as a concept. So
yeah, I'm into it.
Yeah. So our topic today was using surprise monsters properly. Because the idea of surprising people with monsters is always fun for the game master, but also can be horrific for your players depending on how they're used, and murderous for your players depending on how they're used. So
what do you mean by surprise monsters? You mean just like a surprise attack?
Like, he's on this, what happened to Cell?
What happened to Cell? What happened to you? What
happened to that entire goddamn dungeon?
Yes. It's. I think the idea is rather than just a surprise attack, it's sort of like something completely outside of what your players are expecting and stuff too. it's sort of like sometimes
Joker was unexpected.
Yeah. It's something unexpected that your players not only are being surprised by, but they are surprised because they are unaware, they're unprepared for it too. I think it's the thing too. It's the double.
So I am not the biggest fan of surprise rounds because often I just don't find it fun as a DM, and I know it's never that fun for players, especially in Adventure Pass, because some of the Adventure Path ones are really dickish.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just and that was a lightning strike. In 5.5e, they kind of did away with surprise anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah, technically. I mean, there is kind of a surprise round, but yeah.
And it's the same for Pathfinder 2e. They've kind of like relegated it to something.
Actually, they do have completely gotten rid of it for Pathfinder 2e. Literally, you just roll initiative, and all stealth advantage gives you is you roll your stealth, and things are off guard to you until you hit them, until their turn. So it's like there literally isn't a surprise round. You can potentially act before in Pathfinder 2e.
It's surprise-ish. It's not like a full surprise.
With that said,
to explain how it works in 5.5e, all surprise does in 5.5e is it gives the unaware creatures disadvantage on initiative. That's the only thing it does.
Okay, so they've made it even less restrictive. Got it.
Yeah, it's no longer like, oh, these things go and beat your ass.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Because basically the way it works is in initiative in 2e, in Pathfinder 2e, is you roll basically you all roll initiative, and this is already a thing. You don't get reactions until your first turn starts, which is a thing. But also, if you're surprised, you are off guard to those who surprised you until your turn. That's it.
I thought there was something a little more for it. Not like anything super.
You might be thinking of like old version.
A lot of people homebrew Pathfinder 2e to give a surprise action where it's kind of like a surprise round and everyone takes an act, and those who aren't surprised takes a single action.
Basically how it works in 1e.
It's a lot more restrictive in 2e though, because one action isn't as much.
Yeah.
You can run up or shoot, but you can't do both. And spells are kind of off the table. Yeah, but no, like rules is written, stealth is pretty minimal. But so I
think like kind of like they do talk about it. I'm like I remember hearing about it. It's sort of like in 2e, it's sort of like you can kind of do a surprise thing, but it's like if their players are being complete idiots and have done a lot of stuff to like allow it to kind of happen, it's like it's sloppiness. It's assume if you're going to use this as if your players are being incredibly sloppy rather than something that's going to happen.
No, they do specify it's like be very careful about giving them an extra attack or whatever. But then a lot of people homebrew it to where they get a surprise gives them an extra action.
I think I'm fine with the, generally speaking, you're off kilter a little bit for the first round. Like the only thing I would probably homebrew is like, if you are surprised, you might just be until you act. It could be the entire first round. You just have that,
I think a good one for 2e, for Pathfinder 2e, would be if you didn't want the single action, what you could do is say those who are surprised on their first round get the slowed 1 condition. Basically, they lose 1 action on their first turn.
That wouldn't be too bad. That's like as a kind of thing if you want to do some kind of surprise round, because you could still do stuff then pretty well. But
that would be a much more forgiving version. Of a surprise round.
I think I'm kind of fine with a much more forgiving surprise round too. While still having something as an option. But
no, I agree. I actually don't like Pathfinder's base rules for that, because like I feel like it's just combat starts, but they roll stealth dead.
Again, I think the concept of surprise isn't bad because it can be used by players that are smart and come up with good plans and stuff too. And you want something to be advantageous on either way. And, yes, the concept I'm kind of talking about that's leading to this discussion on the surprise and stuff too, a little bit here too, is, the GM starting with it. But again, the base rules, you have to understand them for this entire thing. And so it's sort of like understanding where surprise comes from is good. And then, yeah, I think the surprise monster, as I'm kind of talking about here, is something that it can be twofold. It can be an actual high, it surprises you. I think, like, as I said, the choker's a good example. You didn't expect a choker. It was on the ceiling. It's something you're not really expecting. Yes, there was only one there. It was there. It jumped down and attacked. It's a kind of surprise. It hit Cell.
Choked out a person, did its job, died.
Yes, his job died. You're not expecting something like that. You were expecting maybe some sin spawn, maybe some undead, something like that, like that. It could also be like you're exploring a encampment of ogres, and all of a sudden you run into a room with a goddamn golem. You're not expecting something like that. You're not ready for something like that. You don't have materials for something to fight that. That can be a surprise too. That's the kind of two aspects. You can combine both. The choker's kind of both, but you can just be also one or the other where, surprise, got you. It's just when things are very off kilter and are going to throw your characters completely off is the worst part of it. And that's the kind of thing that you have to be careful with. The choker wasn't going to kill Cell. Like, there was like a maybe 1% chance it would have killed Cell. I took a look at the numbers, but it failed its check, so it didn't.
I mean, to be fair, it was also Cell as the wizard should not have been the one to rock into that room.
It's funny.
Yeah, like Joe getting hit by the goblin, like when you guys had the door open and were like saying a lot of stuff at the top of the stairs. Like I did a GM roll for a perception check, and I had the guy like move over and make a stealth check because you guys were like you were discussing loudly some things at the top of the stairs after you opened the door.
A little bit.
So I'm like, well, you're not really being stealthy. But again, like Joe can take a hit. He's the frontline fighter. He was able. The greatsword did a lot of damage, but he could take the hit. He was ready for it. He could live with that. He's not the wizard who walked first. I think that was the most egregious part for poor Cell's character.
It was funny, but I think even Cell knew it was a mistake.
Oh, Cell absolutely knew what was going to happen.
Just wander in and trigger something.
I'm pretty sure that's why Cell told you to do it.
I rolled it. Look, if it had killed him, it would have killed his character. At least it was early on.
It happens.
Yeah.
Also, I mean, it would have been kind of unlikely to actually kill.
Well, again, like I did in the end, like take a look just because I was curious, because Cell was at 0, and I'm like, how much damage does this do, and how much Constitution? I'm like, oh, okay, you at least have decent Constitution, and I think it would have had to roll max damage on both.
Yeah.
To kill him. Not impossible, but unlikely.
It was a lesson learned that I don't think Cell's character has actually learned.
No, I don't think that the character's learned.
But it was funny, and that's the most important thing.
But like, I think I talked about it. I replaced the Vargoyle with a choker.
Oh, much worse monster.
Because the Vargoyle can knock you out, and then when you're knocked out, turn you into Vargoyle. By like kissing you.
Yeah.
It's got a sonic attack that can just knock people out. And then afterwards, you're Vargoyle now. You're virtually dead. And I'm like, yeah, that's not likely, but it's also that like it's that chance there. The choker, it's just damage. The Vargoyle, it's harder to deal with by far. If it gets it,
especially at lower levels without like remove curse and stuff like that.
Yeah. Thematically, they were both like weird aberrations that were there for reasons in the story. It's the entire thing is like explaining in the books of like why is this here? I'm like, okay, cool.
I mean, I can logic it out if it's some weird Thessalonian shit.
Yeah.
Right. That just makes sense.
An easy explanation is, they've been experimenting with weird creatures and they've been getting away, and this thing is eating them because it's opportunistic.
Yeah,
it's all you need.
Yeah, like again, making a story of why your surprise monster is there, easy way for that's not.
Always at least be a little thematic.
Yeah, as long as you're thematic. But again, like you do have to be careful about it. Like if you're throwing if we're talking Pathfinder First Edition, the kind of things that I would be hesitant to surprise monster people with are things like golems or live constructs.
I have a complaint for this.
Mhm.
Perfect complaint, because they did this in Hell's Rebels. In the Asmodean Temple, where you would logically only fight devils and Asmodeans, right? That makes sense. In one room was a vampire shadow mastiff shaped like a dragon. Don't know why that was there. In the other room were 3 glass golems. Thematically, I don't know why those were there.
Yeah.
And it's just dickish to put the glass golems there.
Yeah. I don't know.
That dungeon sucked.
Yeah. Again, that's a thematic thing too, which you have to be careful from. But again, like, it's also like, what can your players deal with? If your players are dealing with a golem, do they have the ways to overcome it? Do they have weapon blanches for it, like adamantine weapon blanches? You know, do they have very powerful attacks that can overcome its damage reduction? Do they have
also
the right spells to overcome its spell immunity? You know, things like that.
Also my other complaint, how does a being made of shadow become a vampire?
Isn't a shadow mastiff, which is technically not?
I mean, it has an outsider tag.
Yeah.
Evil outsider planner, but it is something made of shadow. Is the description? How does that become a vampire?
Well,
dark magic.
You need a vampire to die and turn into a shadow, and then bite the shadow mask.
Like, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, you need a shadow and a vampire, and have the shadow kill the vampire, and the vampire becomes a shadow.
Nonsense. Because we also
and then the vampire bites a shadow master.
That dungeon had a lot of problems. Pathfinder 1 has a lot of problems of like, the writer was like, oh, this is a cool monster. I'm gonna put this here whether it makes sense or not.
Yeah, that's sometimes a problem too. Like, I like using cool monsters, but I also try to at least give it a reason behind it, you know, too.
I mean, you can always reflavor.
Yes.
So,
and they do a better job of that when they hit 2nd edition.
The early 1 is rough.
I think the other 2 groups that I'd be hesitant to use, depending on the circumstance, there are 2 others. Fae. Because their shenanigans, depending on if you're especially low level, can be really annoying and terrible to players. You know, or deadly sometimes too. They have weird shenanigans that you have to be careful with using. And then the other thing is, of course, undead, because especially like in Pathfinder First Edition, ability damage, ability drain, negative levels, all these things suck. And
those are all things you get to deal with in Karen. Congratulations.
I'm gonna pick up this thing called a shadow, which is a very low CR monster.
Oh, those things that you put 5 of in a combat because you didn't read the stat block?
Probably. Also, like, they suck in 5e too. So
I mean, they're just shitty monster design, in my opinion.
Yeah. Like, and I would argue that you do want to be careful about surprise attacks when characters are low level, in general. Because just like, it's so easy for a surprise attack to drop a player, especially in the deadlier versions of like Pathfinder 1e and 30 and 2e, D&D 2e. Heck, even surprise attacks can drop you in Pathfinder 2e, but
in 5e they can be pretty deadly.
Yeah,
depending on the monster.
Yeah, so low levels, you just have a lot less resources, a lot less ways to deal with something that catches you off guard, and that's just a big problem in these games, which is why you want to use them very sparing.
I'm kind of the opinion at this point of like, players should be if they put through the work and do some checks, players should be reasonably informed of what to expect in a dungeon.
Yeah.
Just because it makes the experience a little bit smoother.
Yeah.
Especially if you're on like a stream game, it helps with production a little bit.
Yeah, I think
something we do in I think it's in Lightning's game is Lightning flat out tells us like, this is the thing's AC, so we don't have to keep asking, do I hit it?
Yes, and I actually do that, and for the most part, Pathfinder 2e in Foundry, it's actually really nice because it will if you target them, it will literally just tell you if you hit or not, which is really nice. So the GM doesn't have to like bother as long as you use the targeting rules.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, if that's like kind of how things are going, I will just tell the players the AC of the creature if we're playing a game like that. I mean, I've been doing that in the Tales of the Valiant game, if you remember.
Yeah.
It was like, yeah, it's 14, that's 15.
Yeah. I think
so
it
that
is.
Way they can just go.
I think it is a better thing sometimes to talk about that, you know, like just because it's there is definitely like hidden information you still want to keep hidden. Like I try to keep
absolutely.
health to like, you know, the bands I talk about, you know, with those.
I'm a big proponent that players shouldn't know HP unless they make a check.
Yeah. I tend to be like, it looks barely injured, it's like bloodied, or it's, you know, critically injured, it's near death, I might say, or something like that. That's the best way I might talk about, like, you know, it's health rebel, which can, it's percentage, so it doesn't mean a lot.
And you should, because in a lot of systems, bloodied is like a mechanical thing that procs abilities a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And even if not, like, your characters can reasonably tell if something is wounded.
Yeah. Even like unusual things like golems and undead, they get beat up to a degree. You know, you've beaten them up to a degree. You might not be able to tell perfectly, you know, but usually you can still generally get an idea. But kind of back to where the original kind of conversation comes from, which is this combo of, you know, basically startling your players with something, whether it's directly a surprise attack or the creature itself, or the combo of both of them. It is a thing that you're going, especially if you combo the two of them, you're really going to be careful. If I decided to have, you know, players run into an area and there's a bunch of statues and one turns into be a stone golem and just punches one of them in the face, I am probably really being an asshole at that point in time.
Hey, Cantus, guess what happened in the Asmodean temple?
Is that the glass golems with like glass statues?
No, we walked up a set of stairs and I got punched by a fucking stone golem.
I try to watch for stuff like that. You know, I try to like.
Paizo loves being like a gotcha.
Like I don't mind necessarily like gotchas when like players are like walking into it or something like that. You know, they are, you know, either not being observant or doing actions.
This is the same dungeon where Cell had to pause us entering and be like, all right, guys, there's a big open room. If you enter that now, you will die.
Is that like Scarwall, where I had to say like, so there's like a boss here. If you go to fight it on your own, it's going to be virtually invulnerable.
So it's worse. The mechanics of the center room in the Temple of Asmodeus is as soon as you step in and start combat, everything in the temple comes to that room to fight you.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Including a dragon.
I'm shaking my head here. I just really am. I'm just like,
what's terribly designed dungeon.
Yeah, I can see that.
And also, spoilers. Brazilian Thrune, who is the final boss of the temple, technically will at half HP teleport and retreat to heal. He will then come back to fight you. Then he is scripted to retreat again and come back and fight you a third time. We luckily just dealt 200 damage to him in one go and killed him, but he would have just kept retreating to heal and coming back.
I am glad Pathfinder, like by 2E times, like I don't know about later 1E adventures, but I know like 2E adventures, they got rid of the enemy fleas every single time.
It's
like,
so bad in some adventures.
Like here's the thing: if it flees to completely flee the area and there's like story things behind it, I can understand that. You know, there's some rules for that. I'm not gonna lie, like certain enemies, like actually Suto and the Quasit had rules for possibly retreating. The Quasit is a little less retreaty, but Suto would have been a little retreaty if you would actually like, you know, not surprise the shit out of that man.
I mean, he tried to run.
He did try to run. Like, you know, again, there are other characters that I know about that will either surrender or run away when they get to certain healths and stuff like that.
Yeah.
There are there's difference between fanatics and people that are like, oh, holy shit.
Yeah.
But like, most of the time I just don't come back. It's like I'm gone.
Yeah.
Like I retreat, heal, and come back to fight you again is a rarity, and it is.
It's
It's
very annoying. I get really annoyed when like a boss flees and is gone from the adventure forever. In my opinion, if an enemy flees, they should come back to fight you later. Otherwise, I find it pointless because you lose out on.
I'm not gonna lie. There are certain for bosses. I'm going to say the last boss of this adventure has rules for possibly fleeing, but it also gives me rules of like if it somehow flees, because again, it's like there's certain situations where it might try to go away. Here's what it would do to return to the adventure, at later time.
The most annoying part of Skulls and Shackles was every like high leveled enemy except for like 2 would flee at half HP.
Yeah.
And then we just lose their loot and don't get anything.
I don't know. I do agree. Like, I think as a GM, I think for the purposes of a module, I think it's actually better to make it so they flee and never come back, as basically a defeat option. I definitely think though that as a GM, you should definitely allow your players to get them, like track them down.
Yeah, it's definitely not like an issue when it happens a couple times, but when it happens in every fight, which is some of the adventures are like that.
Yeah, some of them.
Especially when it expects you to kill them for the loot progression.
Yeah, we had a lot of issues in Skulls, I recall, because we just could not finish off any enemy.
There's definitely some like ways things are built with this, and can be very annoying. Unfortunately, with the retreat stuff too. I think that's another aspect of a lot of this too is the how much is something kind of in your face, how much is it staying there, how much is it retreating, how much are these questions about that too. Again, it's all kinds of the same things. It's balancing out not only the encounter but how the encounter runs out.
Imagine the choker in a chimney. It grabs someone and just flees upwards.
See,
you know what?
Honestly,
I wouldn't be mad. Game respects game, man.
That reminds me of the Carrion Crown Harrowstone. Well, I gotta go use the toilet. Oh no, cockroaches. Thousands of cockroaches swarm in the goddamn toilet. It's the same concept. It's just this, why have you done this to me?
My favorite Carrion Crown dumb thing is in Harrowstone outside there's like a gnome corpse, and if you go near it, like a plant monster just tries to drag you in and eat you. It was just like, why is this here? What is the point of this?
It's again, this is just for the writing and stuff too, which is a good example of why things are done. It's again like, why is it there? Sometimes...
A lot of times it's there to eat a resource, or 2 make the thing deadlier, depending on when it was written.
Yeah.
And if you're running a Pathfinder module, it's okay to cut those because they don't add anything to the game.
It's okay to switch things around. It's okay to cut things. It's okay to change some things and stuff like that. There is a lot of ways you can do this, and this works for basically any system. I think Pathfinder 1E is a very good way to go because it's a game that is still played, that is very observant of a lot of these problems. As we said, like 2E, you're not going to get it as much. You're not going to get the surprise aspect. You might get the holy shit, I can't fight this thing aspect. But 2E is also a little bit more forgiving in that entire thing.
Closet with DR players can't bypass.
That is definitely something that that's.
I want to know why a closet has DR. Why? Why'd you give that guy DR?
Because it's evil or cold iron.
I don't think imps have DR.
I don't know. It's also got fast healing. It's like only 2, but it can get fast healing's not as bad.
I don't think imps have DR. Well, actually, imps have worse DR. Oh, imps have worse DR and I think same fast healing. Well, imp DR is easier to get past because it's silver.
Yeah, silver's easier than cold iron.
And
Like,
silver's easier to acquire than cold iron, so I guess that balances out a little bit.
yeah, like I think that's the other thing too is like it's a silver weapon, and I should really I thought about it later. I should have made it a cold iron weapon.
Yeah.
Because then it would have been like a little bit more of even the well, you could have found this, and it would have been a way to deal with things, maybe.
I think they really expect you to have like a cleric or a paladin.
Yeah.
Well, you got to remember that it's supposed like they basically they design around you having a wizard, cleric, rogue, and fighter.
Yeah. It's another thing that like I think in older games you do find a lot more of the plans that it's a lot more. Again, that's I think a advantage of the more modern games, the Pathfinder 2nd Edition remaster, 5.5. These systems are built in such a way that it's easier for just random shit to work, for teams of random shit to work in a lot of situations. Yes, you can still come across these situations where you're being surprised in such a way that it really, really sucks to play or fight against, I'm not saying you can't fight something like the shadows,
I found that closet stat block on PFSRT.
Probably.
The Closet Thaumaturge 3.
Oh no, that's a different one then.
I mean, it's got the same equipment. It's a CR5, which is kind of spooky.
Oh, you know why?
Is it an altered version of this? It might be.
It was a thaumaturge in the original.
Ah, that would do it.
Because remember, like in Curse of Crimson Throne, they switched it from whatever it was to a vigilante. It's the same kind of thing. If they changed her to a witch.
Yeah, this is from the original Rune Lords.
In the anniversary, they switched it around a little bit.
That makes sense why it's balanced this way.
Yeah.
Plus 11 to hit, fuck off.
That's actually what it had.
That's too much. I get it doesn't do damage, but that's too much.
It's like, it has an okay base attack, a lot of dex, and then like, yes, it was like +1 dagger, and tiny gives a bunch. I'm sorry, it's like, it makes sense why it's that, but it's also like, it is a lot. It's a lot to hit to like not do damage.
Honestly, probably a good thing Cell didn't use his acid flash cantrip, because apparently it had resistance 10 to acid.
All fiends have resistance 10 to acid, cold fire.
Yeah, it's usually they resist.
Or sometimes they get electric instead of acid.
Yeah, it's like they usually resist at least 2 of them, and are immune to the 3rd usually. So I think
Fiends suck to fight.
Yeah, they do.
Especially later game, it's not a big problem because you'll have DR bypassing stuff at that point. But
yeah, and again, I think that's another. Here's another one: fighting fiends at low level. That's another one I can kind of add to the list because you don't.
If you're going to use fiends, you need to put blanches in your dungeon. You need to give them a way to bypass DR, especially if it's like level 2 or 3.
Yeah. I think even like in other games where you have a lot of abilities and stuff too for these creatures, you have to be ready for whatever your players are fighting to be able to fight it. If I'm playing 5th edition and my wizard has all fire spells and I throw something at them that is either immune or even resistant to fire, they're gonna have a bad time. It's you've made it very difficult for them to deal damage to that there. And if they were the big damage dealer, well, shit, they're not in a good shape for a lot of this stuff then too. And I think that's an important kind of aspect of all of this is, you have to consider what your players can fight. Can they take a hit if you're surprising them with this? And, just the situation too. It's the last one of it is the situation you're in too. Are we fighting where there's a big cliff face there and that thing might push you off?
That'd be pretty funny.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. There are some situations that in here that I'm like, I don't think I will change, but I will be like, if you guys do something, it will be because you are being very, very stupid, and I'm not gonna lie.
You're gonna kill the monk then.
If all of you are being very stupid and no one stops the monk, then
sometimes we just let them do stuff because it's good content.
I know, but if you let the monk kill himself, it's not my fault. I looked at this and I'm like, this shouldn't be a problem if you're all not being like complete brain dead. But then again, shouldn't be a problem. I just sigh and hope for the best sometimes.
Oh yeah, another bullshit thing in Carrion Crown that I'm cutting is in the second dungeon in Book 2. When you go across the rickety bridge, there's just a summon airness trap.
The amount of damage that can do and the power that it has, it's sort of like...
No, I looked at it, I'm like, oh, your party's mostly good in this. You're gonna die if you fight this. I'm just getting rid of it.
It is not like the highest level spell, but it's the sheer fact that it is like a very powerful creature that is there for like 10 rounds. It's just gonna
cast its like nuke good spell and then kill you.
Like, because it has it at will. I remember looking at that, I was like, wow, God. I think the first time that I was playing, it was not as bad because it was a lot more like there's a couple of chaotic neutral players that were focusing on fighting it down and keeping it away because, you know, they were there because, hey, friends with the professor, you know, and that was the only saving grace that saved the team the first time I played that, because the second time it was so murdery, you know. And I don't think we got to it with my third time playing it, did we?
Was that the original game that fell apart?
Yeah, the one with
we got to Pharaoh Feldegru, and then that's when the game fell apart.
So you did encounter it the third time, and I think it was also murdery there.
It was. We basically just ran away from it, and it disappeared.
Yeah.
I think Umber wanted to fight it, and we were like, all right, you can die then.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, but I do want to say actually another thing is like, something you can definitely do is make it clear that there are going to be like surprises in your dungeon. I mean, like I actually just have been trying to I've been listening to some they're not called live plays. Anyway, Actual play, thank you. Lately, and there was something that I kind of did like where it's all like he literally described that there was like, oh yeah, there's a wall that seems like it's not made with mortar, and the players just decide to walk past it anyway, and then some kobolds jumped out from behind it. It's like, nice. You know, if you could give hints and your players might still get surprised.
Yeah, I think like the idea of surprise should have been, well, again, it was a week before, but like when you ran into the first sin spawn guard, you know, who was like, hey, what the fuck are you guys doing here, and attacked you. Well, he didn't say anything because I think maybe like scream something in horrific monstrosity voice. I
didn't find your surprises all that like. Let me
no, you're all fine.
When we walked into the into that dungeon into the cell room, the dungeon room, and it's all like you see nothing. I'm like, well, there's gonna be a surprise here, you know.
They did a sick maneuver and it was cool. And then the monk ruined it by failing.
It's fine.
So like, so it wasn't like that crazy of like those surprises were pretty.
No, I think all of yours were fair.
Yeah.
The only one that, and I don't think there's a way around it, was the goblin guy. I don't think you can hint at that thing.
Yeah, he's kind of weird, and like, you know, it was the thing of like, oh, there's a big room down there, and like, you know, you guys were just talking at the top of the stairs before like going down.
Look, I keep saying people gotta stop talking.
I mean, and we perceived at the door, and they beat it.
We did everything we could, and the monk got hit for like 15 damage.
Yeah.
The cloaker or the choker was a little bit less fair, but at the same time, the person who got caught by it shouldn't have, so it really didn't feel that bad.
I think that's the thing, is that's what I was trying to do, is I was still trying to use things where you could still be surprised possibly, but I wasn't trying to make it like, you know, insane. And that's the balancing act that you have to do if you are going to use things with surprise, if you're going to use, you know, tougher monsters and stuff like that. Again, it's just I switched to Vargoyle for a choker, because I'm not gonna lie, if it was a Vargoyle, it would have still got a surprise round on you, and it would have been awful because it would have screeched and then maybe gone into kiss someone, because it would have been hanging in the shadows of the ceiling anyway. You know.
Yep. I think the big thing is make sure your players have a chance, and if the players honestly have a chance and they are the ones who don't do anything about it, they generally understand it's on them.
Yes.
Or that they understand that they rolled terribly.
Yes. I think that's the very important thing is when you build an encounter, whatever creature you're using, how you're using it, stuff like that, give your players a chance. Make sure it's something that, like, they can either notice, they can either deal with, it's that entire thing. Don't throw them against something that's virtually going to be invincible to them because no one likes that,
No, it's not fun
like,
for anyone when that happens.
It's like, again, like, I think that was the biggest mistake I had was not paying attention enough to the goddamn closet and what it did, its defenses and stuff like that. I'm like, oh god, this, because I look at its attacks like, oh, these are fine, and I look at the defenses like, oh no, this is kind of annoyingly tanky. Damn. So, and it again, the shenanigans of the monk made it better, but could have been worse.
Yeah.
But I think that's the kind of point for the direction. I think that's a good place for this, unless anybody else wants to add anything here on this.
No, I think I don't got anything else to say.
Yeah. I think there's an aspect of like, overall, it's an aspect of surprise combat, no matter what, but there's like that aspect of not only like throwing something as surprise, but what you're using with your surprise. I think it's important to think about the two combo. All right, shall we talk about our week in gaming and what we did this week? It sounded like, Momo, you didn't have Sunday, but I was having some adventures.
Sunday got canceled again.
Yeah, but I was having some adventures on Sunday.
Me.
Were they good? Did you have fun?
I did have fun.
Yeah, were they good?
Hell yeah.
Here's the thing. I both like Tales of Valiant, but also like, I think it's because I built a character that's very simple. I don't do a lot in combat. I like combat less, even though I am a very combat focused character, because I just shoot a bow at something until it dies.
Interesting conundrum.
I know, it's sort of like,
I mean,
well, I really can't do much else other than shoot thing with bow, it die.
You have spells, and your hunter's mark doesn't require concentration,
Yeah,
so there are things you could do.
You can just do that.
Well, the spells are like, I took like utility spells because I felt like that was.
Brother,
I know you took utility spells,
brother. You gotta stop doing this to yourself.
I do this to myself.
You did do this a lot with Bander, where you picked a bunch of utility spells.
It's the one Doom tweet. You control the buttons you press.
But I switched it out for Bander towards the end. I switched out a lot of his stuff for like actual attack spells. But by the time I did that, I was fighting stuff I could not affect a lot. It's sort of like, it's like, well, I could cast spells, but now it doesn't really matter anymore. It's like, by the time I switched it with Bander, it was like, well.
Yeah, but to be fair, outside of the beginning where you guys were started off in the middle of a fight where you guys were, deciding to, despite the fact that you got the thing saying, come to me, I'll protect you, and then you guys just straight up decided to kill everything that was continually spawning.
We chose murder. Look.
And only when I rolled terribly like 6 times in a row on the spawning did you guys eventually walk to the end.
Oh boy, here I go killing again.
We did do a lot of that. It was fine. They asked for it.
Yeah, and you guys went down into a dungeon. You rescued a girl. You rescued a lady wizard, and you tore off her arm.
Okay,
not a we. Not a we.
Mm-hmm.
One of us rescued a girl. She was trapped in some kind of stasis field, and decided to use a rope to pull them out. And did so very terribly and violently.
I had them, basically they were caught in a magical mechanism, and her arm was specifically caught in it in a way that, and I had him roll a medical check and then an athletics check to pull. He rolled like a 1 on his medicine check and then rolled like a 20 on his athletics check.
Not the best first introduction, I would say.
Was she still unconscious? So when she wakes up, we're like, well, your arm was already gone. You couldn't do anything about it.
So you're just lying to women now.
Well, I did make a medicine check and learn that she was in like really bad shape, that her like muscles had atrophied and stuff like that.
Yeah, so. Basically she was stuck in there for like a few weeks. I basically had it so the magic flowing. She had a death ward up when she went to inspect it and try and do something about what's going on there. And basically the extra flow of like really powerful magic basically kept her death ward active as she had almost died over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
So she was just kind of unable to die.
Yeah, you know,
in a horrible spot.
Yeah, trapped in a horrible spot, unable to die. Sounds wonderful. Well, we saved her now. She's just unconscious. Well, mostly saved her. Mostly. We'll figure.
Yeah.
Yep, I gave you guys the scroll of arcane eye, and then immediately, like when I did that and put it there, and then I immediately forgot that you guys would probably just use it to explore the whole dungeon without doing anything.
Look, I wasn't thinking about doing that.
Work smarter, not harder.
I have trauma from arcane eye, so I probably wouldn't have suggested that. I'm not gonna lie.
Is there like anything you don't have trauma from in D&D?
Well, this is a trauma that as a person running a game, and it's not because like the players didn't use the arcane eye smart.
I don't know. I just feel like Joe has done enough to you that you just hate tabletop now.
No. Joe's fine. Here's the thing. It was the trauma of like I didn't want to murder everybody, but they kind of forced my hand because they're like, well, we're in. It is Carrying Crown Book 5, and it's the big old temple. It's the big old temple. The arcane. They use like the next level up of arcane eye, explore the entire thing, and then they're like, okay, we found the final boss. Let's go straight to him when he has all these things that can basically glare and a big thing to tell people, trouble, come help me. So I had to like have enemies continually flow in there because they basically didn't fight anything in the entire dungeon, which it was a enemy fortress, you know. So they chose, let's ignore all the. It's not like even like a normal dungeon. It was a fortress where everything was allied together. They're going to help each other out. They're not chaotic evil. They're neutral evil. So as soon as you like, they just eliminated a few of them on the edge, you know, just like, you know they're there. It's a surprise attack them and stab them. It is
what it is.
Yep. And we ended where you guys disabled the barrier protecting one of the rooms, which thankfully you couldn't arcane eye because there was something else going on there.
Yeah.
And you walked in, and I realized I forgot to import the stats of the creature, and it was right at the end, so I'm just like, we're done. I'll get that for next time.
Yeah. I mean, that happens sometimes where you forget stuff like...
No, and it's so funny because when I looked it up, I immediately remembered what I wanted, and I can definitely plan for it like really easily. It's just, I just forgot to do it, and I just didn't want to, spend 5 minutes looking through everything, and we were at the end time anyway, so...
Like, I'm not gonna lie, there are a few, like, monsters I gotta finish up some stats for the current book we're on Shadows of Thassalon. Like, I'm like, oh yeah, I gotta finish a couple things here, like in the last dungeon and stuff like that. Some of them might come up technically in the next episode, so I probably should like actually put those together.
You should.
Yeah. It's just basically entering them in from the book, and that's not too difficult usually, but still. Yeah. Then there was Monday. I know we had some adventures on Monday.
I did have my game on Monday. I'm pretty sure it was my game.
Like, I'm not gonna lie, your game is so entertaining in the stupidest of ways because I love being the idiot, and I love that I'm the idiot that keeps shutting down, not on purpose, but just by being an idiot, some of like Lightning's shenanigans. Lightning tries to do shenanigans, and then I say something completely stupid that shuts it down.
True.
And I find that very entertaining.
You guys got explained that. You got some protective equipment so you won't die in the horrible radiation storms.
I really have to read through that now because during the session I rolled a check and I rolled like a 1 and I'm like, my character doesn't understand this. I'm not gonna read it right
honestly,
now.
You should.
I understand it.
Mechanically, it's important.
Yes, I should understand it, even though my character is a complete idiot.
So you basically got a rundown of how what depth is, what aether, and what light is. And, hey, it's all bad. Don't touch it.
Yeah.
Don't lick the meat moss.
Don't lick the meat moss. Yes.
Yeah, you went back to the hospital. You found who is technically one of the main villains of the campaign, standing there questioning you, being like, "Hey, Do you remember me? Oh, of course you don't. Let me help you remember things. Which you all agreed to, which was nice.
Look, I get the fence said that she was like a possible major villain, but I'm also
I
like
mean,
on the thing of like,
you guys are aware her organization are terrorists.
yeah, well, my character might not be.
Well, your character might have just ignored that.
She really might have, unfortunately.
But yeah, you basically went back through the hospital with this person, found a cool dimensional portal-y thing. She opened it. That was weird. Why'd she do that? Then you went and you experienced some horrible memories, although some of yours were quite pleasant. Like you had a big chair.
I had a big chair. It was a really nice chair. I'm really happy about the chair. I want a new big chair now.
You learned your wizard has some kind of deal with an unknowable, horrible creature.
That's fine, probably.
And a woman, which, that's fair. You learned that you didn't really learn anything about Lightning's character other than I'm sending Lightning sass back at him tenfold. Because everyone has a dream entity, and Lightning's dream entity is just their own character.
Look,
Which may or may not be their sword, but that's for later. You learn that you're maybe a CEO of some kind. You have a really big chair.
I like this.
Your dream entity treated you like the equivalent of when a child walks out in a Spider-Man costume and everyone goes, "Yay, so cute," and claps.
I'm not gonna lie. I feel like that's normal for CEOs in a lot of places. Look, you're our figurehead. You're here to make decisions. Don't worry about it. We'll handle everything.
Very true.
They're there to pretend that they have good ideas while everyone else makes the ideas work.
That's what corporations work. That's not always true.
Cell's character you learn just has a weird guy who's like, "Hey, you should come back home to us. It's fine. Don't worry about it." And then you learned your kobold maybe killed a bunch of people.
Yeah, it's fine. He was working for me. It's totally
okay. Didn't realize, and I'm so sorry to River that I'm effectively. This is now the second memory loss campaign where River has potentially murdered a bunch of people and doesn't remember it.
It only happens a couple of times. Don't worry about it.
I forgot that's what River's plot is in Lightning's game. When I wrote this. So whoops.
Look,
I guess kobold's a murderer, which makes sense. It's a kobold.
Yeah, it does. Goddamn kobolds.
You learned a bunch of stuff in your dreams. I think you got a little bit of an understanding of what you maybe are. You all learned you worked for the same organization, potentially founded it. You learned that your organization is the organization that is now a terrorist group, which is weird. And the villain was like, "All right, I helped you. Please, good luck regaining your memories. Don't get in my way."
Yeah, which we were kind of like, well, I don't think we're going to try. But
you refused her offer to come back and join.
Look,
she's like, "All right, I won't bother you. You don't bother me."
Look, I was fine with that, but I know, like, even my idiot had this feeling, because again, that a little bit of wisdom there. It's like, we're probably gonna have to fight her, aren't we? Damn it.
Funny that you're gonna have to fight her.
Yeah, I know.
Technically, you could side with her, but I don't think you will.
No, I'm like a good-hearted idiot. I probably
well, she has very extreme methods.
Yeah, I'm like.
And then you spent way too much time arguing over fixing an ambulance.
I just wanted to fix the ambulance. I wasn't allowed to.
I mean, you can do. It's just gonna take you a while.
Yeah, I just wanted a car so we could drive around town rather than walk around town.
Session, you found some friendly military people.
Yeah.
Who you're gonna talk to next time we play.
Yeah.
So I think it was. I do try to have a combat every session, but I couldn't squeeze one in this time. So, oh well. There's a lot of me talking. Hopefully in an entertaining manner.
I had a good time.
It seems like people like this game, which makes me happy.
It's like. Here's the thing. I think because I'm here from the beginning, I'm a little bit more invested in that.
Yes, unfortunately in Lightning's game, you are like midway through.
Yeah. not that it's not bad, but it is like it feels like I'm jumping in the middle of something.
Yeah, we gotta like include you a little more and stuff.
Yeah, like it felt easier to jump in Cell's game because there was like this easier story to jump in. You know,
it's just so hard to get a word in when Jay and Cell don't know when to stop talking sometimes.
Yeah, this is accurate.
They let the bit go a little too long occasionally.
Yeah, they do. They're two characters.
Yeah. Oh well, but
yeah, it's fine.
I'm glad people are liking my game. I have to cut some stuff for next session because I realized my notes for next session are 8 pages long, and that's too much for one session.
Yeah, there's a little bit of session there.
So there might be some things getting cut, but I've had a lot of time to write this one, and I'm very into it. So.
Tuesday we had Cell's game.
Tuesday we met a new friend who brought meats, tea, and wizards to the city.
Yes.
And I pissed Cell off by pointing out that why are those wizards on the cargo manifest?
The cargo manifest has wizards on it. Yep.
I like Lightning's character.
I think Lightning's character is very interesting.
I think it fits in well. I don't know how to feel about the this part of book 5 is kind of like whatever to me.
This entire thing feels like it's too
because I talked to Cell the other day about it. I'm like, the pacing in this would be so much better if like finding the governors happened after this.
Yes. Oh, I can see that actually.
I think that would be better paced. But the way they set it up is you do the because you could technically do it the way I suggested, but the way they wrote it was to find the governors first and then go secure support from all the counties. But I think it should be reversed. I think that would pace it better.
I think I can agree with that one because like there's like I feel like there should be a finality to the governors thing, and then afterwards it's like, well, we'll go talk to some people and secure them, I guess. I don't know.
It's just a little weirdly paced. And it's coming off of a 7-session dungeon that wasn't particularly fun.
I'm glad I missed that. I'm not gonna lie.
It was awful.
Yeah.
But now we go murdered a bunch of Zon-Cathon priests, which is always a good thing.
Yeah.
Why is it always Zon-Cathon?
Well, he's like the most evil guy, I guess.
Because he's like if we talk alignment wise, he's neutral evil, so he's like the most evil. He's just and like he's like done a lot of horrible things.
It's like the 3 villain gods are Rogogoth, Zon-Cathon, and Asmodeus. Those are like the big 3 villains they love using recurringly in Pathfinder.
Like there are a few other like minor ones.
So funny because I've never seen one with Rovagug.
Well, Rovagug you don't use technically directly.
No, you tend to use its children as a threat.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair.
Like
because they just show up in random games.
Like it's kind of like.
Was there one in? Actually, yeah. Wasn't there a child of Rovagug somewhere in the Crimson Queen?
I think it was. I think we dealt with some cultists of that.
You dealt with something.
Well, it's like I think it was it like wasn't there like a big monster that was like guarding the sword?
Oh yes, that like there was like a dimensional monster or something that I think was tied.
No, there was the dimensional monster. No, not the dimensional monster. Beneath
that was
after the big dungeon, we went underground.
That wasn't Rovagug. That was Zon-Cathon.
That was still Zon-Cathon? Yeah, it was still Zon-Cathon. Okay.
Yeah, technically speaking, you don't normally use Rovagug because most Rovagug's children are like apocalypse level monstrosities.
Yeah.
So they are like game bosses and stuff like that.
I know in Skulls and Shackles you do deal with like a lesser thing of Rovagug.
Yeah.
There's one. A lot of the Mwangi stuff ends up dealing with it.
Like the smallest things are like between CR 10 to 15, of the things like that. It's sort of like a lot of the other gods have like other things in between. Like, I'm not gonna lie, Lamashtu's kind of awful, but she just wants to create horrific monsters. You know, she doesn't want to do.
Oh,
She
the
isn't,
other
she isn't like
one in
destroying
Crimson.
the world with them. At least
Yeah.
tend to be.
The other one in Crimson Throne was the Plague God, which I don't remember the name of.
Wasn't like technically one of the
Because it was the one, because Bloodveil was made from Orgatha's priest.
Oh yeah, it's Orgatha. Yeah, Orgatha. Orgatha deals a lot of like plagues and stuff like that, and disease. You might get into conflict with the red mantises, but they're kind of like with Asmodeus. You're not going to get directly with them unless you're opposing their stuff directly.
Yeah.
They're very lawful evil, even though they're assassins. They have a code of conduct, you know. So you're technically not going to deal with red mantises as much. I guess I call them neutral evil because they're technically worshiping a demon.
They're like a business.
Yeah, they're business. They're kind of weird spot to be in, you know.
I know you go up against them in Crimson Throne a bunch because they're hired to kill you.
Yeah, they get hired on to murder a lot of people, so you keep going up against them. Again, like there are some very evil sources that you can run into a lot. It's just that
they just tend to use like the same 3 or 4.
yeah,
It's easy.
Zonkathon's an easy one to use. If you're doing anything with Cheliax, Asmodeus is very.
It's always
going to
be Asmodean stuff, yeah.
Or anything kind of side tangentially related to that.
Any of the archdevils.
If you want to deal with undead or diseases or Gotha, if you want to deal with really weird monsters that are just, yeah, they're not like things from outside the universe, then it's Lamashtu. You know, if you want to deal with a world-ending threat, throw in some Rovagug people, you know.
Yeah.
So
comes up a couple times.
Yeah. So it just is like, depending on your flavor, they have their go-tos. There definitely are a lot more kind of evil gods, it's just they don't really show a lot.
Anyways, you tried to disintegrate a door and failed.
That was funny.
And then you got beat up for it by a shadow. Yeah, it was a monster turned
those
into
were
a door.
Those were not.
It's like a night. It was a shadow monster of some kind.
Well, if you know Nightwalkers at all, Night Stalkers, I think they are, from D&D.
Yeah, it's that equivalent.
It's the equivalent, but these are the Nightshades. They broke them. I don't know if Nightshades still exist in 5e. I think because they broke them down and made them a little different. I think they. Still
I don't know if Nightshades are in 5e.
Remaster.
Nightwalkers are in 5e for sure.
Yeah, because that was what they originally were based with, but the Pathfinder broke them onto more.
Was it Nightwing?
Because there's Nightwing, and there's also a aquatic one, which is even more powerful.
Yeah, I fought 2 of these, and it wasn't that bad.
Yeah, the Nightwings aren't too bad.
Beat your ass though.
Yeah.
You and Lightning got slapped a
lot. Sorry.
Jay once again crashing out from his spell choices though.
Look, you know, it's his spell choices. Look, I
built for killing humans, and that we're fighting not humans.
Yeah. Look, you know, sometimes you have to give good spell choices. Like, I'm not gonna lie, you know, it's like, yes, going through spell resistance wouldn't be bad, but it's sort of like, it's just because
you probably should at some point, because half your abilities key off of it.
Yeah, it's just like those are like one of 4 choices that I could make for stuff. So that's why I'm hesitant, because I'm like, I can just do the other stuff.
I mean, what
too.
Other feats are you gonna take?
That might be it, because I've kind of exhausted all the revelations I was gonna take.
We're level 14.
Yeah.
What else are you gonna take? But also, it's also only a +2, so like whatever.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter until you get greater.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I really like Lightning's character. I think it's fun. It's more fun than the Druid. Mostly because the Druid wasn't the most helpful in an urban campaign.
That unfortunately can kind of happen. That's why I was like, when you were talking about it, I'm like, the thing is, Book 2 is very mixed bag for locations.
As long as there's some wilderness, it's fine.
Yeah, I
would, because it very much is like, if it's a oops all Magnemar adventure, I'm not gonna be helpful. And
would you call like a building in the middle of the woods? Then I think I would. Technically,
as long as my spells work.
I give you.
Don't work.
I give you that and stuff like too. Yeah.
Please.
Yeah. I did look it up. Hey, cool. It's Darvaka is the Pathfinder remaster version of them. They are basically the same kind of thing.
Sick.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Nightwave, Night Strider, Nightcrawler,
Anyways.
Nightwing. Like, I think they got rid of the humanoid one and just have the horrific monster ones.
Probably fine enough, I think.
Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, Wednesday. Hey, we talked about Wednesday a little bit, but they finished up the dungeon, and that was kind of it.
I thought it was a good session. I had more fun this session than I did like the previous 3, because one, I was actually able to do stuff.
Yeah.
I actually rolled okay for once. And we got a level. I got the most useless ability from my level up, but at least I got something, I guess.
Yeah. True. And then you got the next level spells, so we can kind of get that. I think it's sort of like...
I got good buffs now.
I think the back end there was pretty good, even though it was just a bunch of like battles. I was curious to how long those battles, because I think we didn't go too far afterwards. We just basically took care of a lot of the in between.
No, we were like, we set up the fact that we're going to Thistle Top. I think that's what it's called. And I think we're taking like 2 days.
Yes.
To prep.
I'll have to look if there was like any kind of extra information you could gain or you would have gained about the place.
I think the only thing we could do is like talk to Shalelu or whatever her name is to be like, yo, what's it like up there? Probably bad. I know it's covered, like surrounded by thorns, which I guess I'll be useful there.
Yes, it's the idea.
One time that druid ability comes up.
Yeah, it's like a forest area surrounded by thorns before you get to.
Is it called the Thornwood?
I think it might be like Thornwood or something. But then there's like once you get through there to the area, you have to take like it is technically on kind of like an island off the edge. It's just like with cliff faces all around it, that with a big face on it. Yeah, it does have a bridge. I mean, that's something you're gonna know about. But again, like hey, that's something you're gonna have to deal with is getting there, getting across a bridge, and you kind of already know it's a goblin fortification known for being fortified. You're gonna either have to plan to fight a lot of goblins straight up, or come up with a plan. Yeah. And it's not an easy sneak because, again, cross the bridge. So
knowing early Pathfinder, it's probably going to be a fight because the way they would want you to solve it sneakily is not going to be easily obtainable or fun.
There are some options, but I do not know if your team would take them. I'm going to say that there. There are some opportunities. Maybe you run into them, maybe you won't. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
So that's the best I can say. Again, I feel like Joe's character probably will just murder everything before learning stuff from it.
Which is fair.
Yeah, he's got trauma. It's fine,
The goblins have not proven to be good people.
No, the majority that you found are very bad.
You should have a good goblin show up. Just so Joe can learn that Joe's character can learn. Oh, there are actually goblins that are not monsters.
There are opportunities to find things here, but whether or not you will interact with them or have an opportunity to not just stab things and ask questions later, we'll find out.
I'll just change my backup character to a goblin.
I mean, again, like I specifically said with what's her face that she's like, unfortunately a lot of the goblins there are kind of dicks.
Yeah,
the ones that aren't usually are bullied into submission by the bigger ones, that are kind of not good.
Goblin society ain't nice.
No. So that's why she's like, if we get rid of the source, they'll probably break down back to infighting again, and the more violent ones will probably take out each other, and the ones that we don't have to worry about will just go back to being like, I don't want to do anything. I'm just going to sit over here and like eat some birds, and hunt some birds. They don't want to necessarily deal with the people of the town. Turns out the ones that they kept bringing into town are the ones that want to go fight the town. They probably volunteered to go fight town.
Yeah.
I haven't done anything on Thursday.
No.
We had our stuff on Friday, and if unless you didn't have anything, then I can turn it over to Worm. What did you do today for your game?
Yeah, so we found. So last time we started off by distributing loot from the top from like before because someone was gone last time, so we couldn't do it last time. But after that, we did some scrying on some people who we took over a ship last time, and some bad people. We scryed on the people to find out more about the people. Then we used that information to scry on more people. Actually, technically used a thing called time pool, which allows you to view an event. Then we use that to scry on people, and then we use that scrying to do time pool again to figure out more about the conversation because people can detect you. Then we decided to try and find the rendezvous point that these people are supposed to be going to. And when we got there, we found a bright light, which we went to investigate. And then we found out the bright light was shooting rocks and doing a bunch of damage. So the enemy may be making a weapon.
Nice.
Classic. Enemy making rock shooting weapon. So
as one does.
As one does. Yeah. So all right. Hey. Thanks for joining us today, and thank you to the two of you for joining me. I guess I'll throw it over to you, Worm, for your shout-outs about anything, and then, because unless, Momo, you got something to, of course, shout out.
No, I don't really got anything to shout out.
Cool. Then, Worm, I turn it over to you.
Oh, I'm DiamondWyrm. You can find me on twitch.tv/DiamondWyrm or at DiamondWyrm on Twitter, Blue Sky, and YouTube. Next stream will be tomorrow, Sunday at 10:30 a.m. PDT. I don't know what I'm going to play, actually, because I did kind of finish the game that I was playing. Still more I can do, but I might actually go back to Silksong.
Ooh, nice. I would suggest that one. I had a really good time playing through that one, so...
Yeah, I got through a good chunk of it. I just was, like, kind of near the end, and then I got caught up in another game that I really wanted to play.
I can understand how these things can happen. Fun stuff is fun, and we'll get distracted. So, cool. All right, hi, 10 Star Van Dracovin. I'm gonna call this week still kind of guerrilla streams until like I can figure stuff out. I'm probably still on call to help out my mom with what she's been working on. So if she needs me for, let's say another 4 or 5 hours on a Tuesday or Thursday, I'm probably gonna help her out. So I can't guarantee that's not going to happen. But I will try to keep people informed, and I will try to get some streams in actually this week and find the time for it. I've been trying to get back to something normal. Hopefully I will. But at very least, I'll be back for Fall of Avanswell on Wednesday, so make sure to check that one out. And of course, Friday of Friends with Worm, and of course, the show next week. So hopefully you can join us, and hopefully these two can join me. Any other links below, especially like overall my Discord is the best place to see where I'm going to update for schedule. But I'll probably throw that up into the other social medias if I figure out when I can do stuff. I'll try to keep people informed. So cool. Everybody have a great rest of your day, and at very least I'll see you Tuesday, and these people will probably see you in other places. So all right, everybody, hopefully it's Tuesday. See you later then. Bye. I can't think of anything else to say.